Hi guys, it's Christian from Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast. No, this is not another solo cast, so don't touch that dial. Just wanted to give you all a heads up that there is some sound issues for the first hour of this episode, resulting in some echoing vocals and overmodulation of, well, yours truly. We are deeply sorry and understand that this is unacceptable. And as such, Brandon will be severely punished. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, a show dedicated to presenting you with humorous horror film reviews with frequent forays into jocularities regarding anal bleaching, cinematography, Afro-Canadians, and clickety-clackety. I'm tonight's guest host, Mr. Watson of Horror Corridor, podcasting from just outside of Olympia, Washington, and our primary goal in this crossover event is to provide you listeners with intelligent, illuminating, impeccable, and insightful discussions about the horror genre as it was in the year of our Lord, 2007. How does this year figure in the scheme of modern-day horror? How does it compare to other years? How does Brandon just let a good thing fall apart with Black Phillip? We'll answer these questions and more once I get to the Exploding Headquarters. Now, of course, Dave, Brandon, and Christian aren't here with me right now, but I'm sure if they were, they'd say, all right, hello, hello, Mazel Tov, and welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast.
Episode 36.
To the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 36. Wow, I'm out of breath already. Sorry. You know what?
You want to know why you're out of breath?
What?
The air is very thin at the top.
Oh. Top. I thought you were going to say because, Brandon don't breathe. That's why I'm out of breath. Like I was trying to imitate you.
Woo! Wasn't going to say that.
Well, you heard Brandon. I think you heard Christian laughing over there. And I'm Dave Z. We're all here. But, that's not all. That's why I'm excited and out of breath tonight because we got our homie here. We got a real motherfucking G in the house. One of our favorite podcasters, friend of the show. Associate of the show. Better? Okay. No, man, we love him. He is the host of Horror Corridor, and he goes by the name of Mr. Watson. What the fuck is up, Watson?
Welcome.
I be not Mr. Watson. I be the Witch of the Wood, and I've come to steal ye. Clickety-clackety. Clickety-clackety. Dave, join me. Clickety-clackety. Dave, join me. Yeah, clickety. I'm just kidding. Clickety-clack. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We'll just sit back, Brandon.
Yeah. So thanks a ton for having me on the show, guys. It's been a long time of coming, and I'm super stoked to be here. Listen, I'm just impressed at this view you all got at the Exploding Headquarters here. Like, so this is what it's like to be number one. Well, guys, I dig it. Like, you got that penthouse suite up here. Well, like Horror Corridor, like I got a headquarters here in the same Horrorphilia building where the headquarters is. That pretend headquarters we're doing, and I've got a setup down in the basement. It's the Horror Corridor hallway. because Jason's like, no, we don't got a room for you, but let's put up some of those yellow caution wet floor signs so you can like have part of a hallway. Just let if people walk by to get to the elevator, like it's just cool. Just keep recording. So I got a headquarters here too, down in the sub basement, B2. If you're in the elevator, so come down and see me sometime.
P2, as in like a movie from 2007.
2007?
Yeah, what?
P2, like Brandon 2.
Brandon 2.
Wait, P on me too? Wait, what are we
PM
talking about here?
Yikes.
While you're down there in the basement, say hi to the other members of the Friday the 13th podcast.
Good to say about that podcast later, actually. Holy crap.
10. I'm so
I know.
Isn't that awesome?
With an old episode.
Right?
Yes, I'll tell you guys what, though, and I told Christian this before, homies, but, like, I love Christians. I love TGIF 13. Like, I honestly think it's the most, and listen, I do. I think it's the most underrated show on the network. Like, just the way, like, Christian, you and Vince bust each other's balls and cover the content. I love it. Like, nobody would know it from Exploding Heads, but Christian, you're a good podcaster. Like, but I just thought, I'm kidding. Like, I just thought I'd show TGIF 13 some much needed love because, I've told you several times I really love it. Like, I was working one time in these because I sometimes go into people's houses, but they want me there to fix up things, like tile involved stuff. So high end crap. So anyway, like I'm like sitting there listening to TGIF 13 and I'm busting up laughing and they're just sitting on their couch watching TV while I'm in the kitchen working or wherever working, just looking at me like there's nothing in your headphones that you're listening to that could be that funny. I'm just like, you're right, but I'm still laughing because TGIF 13's that good.
Oh man!
So,
tell me more.
You look so good tonight.
Hey, I love it too.
I love Brandon's face.
No, I know, because Brandon hasn't heard the show. Dave and I have heard the show. We love it.
No,
but...
I've heard the show. I just can't believe the bullshit you're spewing. No.
I love the show. That's when I first heard Christian. I was listening to Christian, to TGIF 13, and I was like, man, these guys are funny. Christian's a great host, everything. I loved it so much that I even hacked you. Did you know I hacked the show?
How'd you hack me? You hacked me? Well, you hacked me by inviting me onto this show.
No, but I hacked the show because you were the first person, or maybe it was Vince. Either way, it was the show, right? You guys are the first people that pointed out making love. I started doing it way back on Banana Laser, and I hacked you when I did it. So there you go.
Truth
At
is
least
out.
I admit. I admit my hack.
Oh, I do the same.
See?
Not me.
Not you. You're 100% a ridge.
No.
I want to hear Watson's spiel tonight.
My spiel?
I want to hear your spiel, or whatever you want to call it. Your
about why
dissertation about the horror corridor. I want to hear about frequent forays, all that good stuff. Whiskey,
Okay, well, I'll give you like the version I give on Bloody Bits. Like when I do that, it's like it's not my intro, but it's like the official plug. So I say something like, Horror Corridor is a psychologically oriented, pseudo-academic whiskey-soaked solo cast where I wax intellectual about the horror genre. It's primarily a film review show, but there are frequent forays into horror-related music, literature, video game, and graphic novel content. Find the Horror Corridor group page on Facebook and join. There's some Horror Corridor page that you can like, but that's not me. Don't do it. Join. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever podcasts are played. You can go to horrorphilia.com, find me there, or horrorcorridor.com. That's HORRORCORRIDOR.com. Gangsta, what? Mic drop.
Please tell me, was that written down?
Brilliant.
Well, I've said it like about 6 or 7 times on Bloody Bits, so I kind of know what I want to say. I love the jokes on this podcast. I love the sound effects too. Like I want to make a beat out of like both Brandon's and Christian's like sound effects where you got like all right. I'm in, man. This is the show.
Can we talk about Zed? Let's tease him about Zed a little bit because it's the hot topic right now.
Do it, Mr. Zed.
Christian, let me ask you this. When people are like going to sleep in Canada, do they sometimes say, I got to go catch Zeds?
No.
Whoa.
No, they don't.
Does the jingle go, NyQuil will help you catch your Zeds?
Or what about the rhyming ABC song? It's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, we have done that.
Okay, Christian. Spell the word Zed.
Z-E-D.
It's not Z-E-D.
It is.
It's Z-E-D. I knew it. I knew it was Z-E-D.
Z-E-D.
That's if you said Zed dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah. The guy's name
that's-
is Zed. The guy's name is Zed from Police Academy 2. I think Bobcat Goldthwait. His name is Zed. So if you were doing the credits,
Let's talk Pulp Fiction. You're
comes down
talking Police Academy 2.
When it comes down to America, his
You
name's
love
Z.
Michael Winslow. I'm telling you, man. It's always about Michael Winslow with this guy.
okay, how about okay? Do people call it a zebra? You know that animal?
It's a zebra.
It's a-
Zebra?
You guys are crazy.
Zebra. Zebra.
Okay, as long as we're talking about Zed and zebras in America, this is something funny. I never told anybody the story, but my wife was on the phone with this woman in New York City because she's a flight attendant, and she booked a flight. She booked a room in this hotel, and it turns out that she didn't know that her airline had already actually made reservations for her at a different hotel. So she had to call and cancel. So she called this place in New York City, and, she said her name, and the woman said, could you spell your last name? So my wife starts spelling the last name. She says Z-E-N, and then she's like, no. She goes, what's the first letter? And then she says, oh, sorry. She goes, Z as in zebra. And the woman on the other end said, what's a zebra?
Really?
Holy crap.
True story. The woman said, what is a zebra? She didn't know what a fucking zebra is.
Was she from Jersey?
Oy vey.
And then you sent a picture of you two naked in bed?
That's an Oreo cookie.
Joke, isn't it?
Shout out to interracial love.
That's
know.
a Jefferson's joke. Leave it to
Is
you.
that?
Oh, don't you remember he used to call the kid a zebra? Don't you
Did he?
remember that?
It's been a long time. I swear it wasn't intentionally stolen.
Brandon's like, all my jokes are original.
Yes, that one was original.
No, that's good. I liked it.
I remember all the jokes on the Jeffersons and
Different
all in
strokes?
the family. Speaking of different strokes, this is
not
a
a video.
very special episode tonight, right?
It's a mashup.
Yeah, it's a mashup. It's a very special. It's like, remember that episode of Different Strokes? They said tonight, a very special episode.
Was that when Dudley got touched?
Yes, that's a very special episode, just like this.
Remember, it is a special episode because it's also an audition. It's an audition for
Oh.
Brandon's job.
Yes, or yours,
Or
because
mine.
he can produce. So
Uh-oh.
finally, somebody comes on that can actually produce.
Uh-oh.
Actually, not finally. Mike Merriman, he can produce. JP produces, and Wazell. All our guests except Lauren.
He produces tacos and burritos. What else?
What about Dave Rendoni?
Cordell.
Been selling for a bit.
Cordell.
Hey, Cordell, where have you been? You know what I
Where
feel
is
like? The woman.
Cordell?
He just popped up on. He just messaged on the page recently.
Did it? Nice.
Remember Romper Room at the end, and she holds up the thing and says, "Oh, I see Cordell and I see Rendoni." You know what I'm talking about, or no? Watson, do you remember that show, Romper Room?
Kinda. Yeah, but I drink a lot, Dave.
Fair enough. What's
Yeah,
tonight's, what are you drinking tonight?
Just a lot of, and you might dig this, homie. It's okay. It's not the best. I'd prefer something else normally, but I'm talking Bud Light Platinum, and homie, it's low carb beer. It's like 4.5 carbs per 16 ounces, 6% alcohol. Gangsta, what? Yeah, so that's what I'm having. I've had like 7 of them. It's all good. It's not a problem anymore. But you were talking about how this is a special episode. And it's special for me for a certain reason, but special for you guys too, since you got Watson classing up this joint. But no, for real though, it's like a unique show for me because this has become, it's the crossover episode. So on Horror Corridor, I'm doing themed episodes based on my top 10 favorite horror movies. Well, one of the movies we're doing tonight is in fact in my top 10. So this episode here will fit right into what? Yeah, will fit right into the continuity of what I'm doing on my podcast. And also, like unless Christian hated my ideas, there's gonna be some audio I gave him that he'll put in post-production that'll make this episode seem a little more like a dual effort, to use Dave's words. So I don't know. This is a crossover event. It's big. It's big time. Like, digging it. We'll see how it turns out.
I could see Brandon sweating. It's great.
Oh, that's because he knows I'm coming over. From Olympia to Jersey.
Here we go.
Those are the jokes. I just got to say this. Really, I have this in my notes, and you mentioned it, so I got to say it. I know, homie, that your solo cast stirred up a lot of jokes, And I just wanted to let you know that I thought it was amazing, my friend. I loved all your solo cast a ton, except Christian's because he didn't mention me. But no, but for real though, like it seemed like Brandon, it seemed like you were legit saddened after your solo cast release. And I just wanted to say that I appreciated what you did, my friend. Like you let me take a little peek behind the curtain under that toga you got there in the camera to see what you were gonna do. And dude, I feel like you knocked it out of the park. So I just wanted to like come on the show. Come on the show, to be on the show and just like say some positive words about it because I feel like, you know, you were sort of down after that experience. So it's rock and roll.
Thanks, homie. You know, I gave you props because you totally helped me format the show, but you fucking forgot to tell me to breathe.
I dropped the ball on that one.
Where were you on that one?
Well, and I didn't mention you because I totally ripped you off. That was the whole point of this. I'm like, hey, let's do solo casts. Fuck this guy from Horror Corridor.
Yeah, but you didn't rip him off entirely because yours wasn't that good. So.
Oh no, Christian, this is awesome! Holy crap, that rap you did. But anyway, yeah, Dave's trying to say something. And
yeah. Oh, you know what I'm trying to say, Watson? I'm trying to cheer Brandon up.
Yes.
Because check it out. I'm gonna have to go back to something I always go back to, but the ratings on iTunes. I check them periodically because I'm waiting to hit that 50 written, and we're not there yet. But we did get 2 more since the last show.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you, and guys, you better do the same thing for Watson here, Horror Corridor. Get on there and leave him a 5-star and a written, and do all that good stuff. You know.
Thank you.
Of course, please. That's the least we can do here.
I'm 1 away from a giveaway, by the way.
What?
Yes, I just want to thank Dave, Christian, and Brandon for all leaving ratings on my podcast.
I didn't leave it yet.
I am totally playing
I'll be
right
number
now.
20. I'll be number 20.
I am totally playing right now. Anyway, Dave, jeez, man. This
No
beer is
giveaway?
making me say things.
Say things, please do. That's why if you didn't come here and drink beer and say things, then we wouldn't want you here. So.
And if you say things, that means Christian can't say things.
Wait, but you're almost at 50. You're almost at 50 ratings on iTunes. That's fantastic. Holy crap, guys. Congrats. Man, yes.
Thanks. We're trying. We're out there.
More blowing us.
You're about to be blown. You're about to be blown. This is our latest April 16th, 2017. We have a written review, and the headline is "Brandon is the greatest." And I shit you not.
It's from Jerry.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, you gave it away. I was gonna say that the end.
I was really hoping it would be a chick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bummed.
Jerry's
I'm happy.
very feminine.
He is very feminine.
Yeah,
I'm about to be on Kill the Cast next week, too. So he's going to roast me.
Put in a good word for me.
Brandon is the greatest thing to ever happen to podcasting. Dave Z is the man for finding him and bring him to the light. Christian is Canadian. Ooh, what, huh?
Oh, I said Jerry does his research.
He says, but for real, I love the podcast. You get so much packed into one show. It's not just all the movie reviews. It's the personalities and inside jokes that make you feel like a long-running sitcom you watch to feel happy. And I can't talk, so. But yeah, but see, they spilled the beans, or Christian spilled the beans.
Don't make that kind of joke in front of JP.
What anchors JP?
Spilling the beans. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, there you go. It was from Jerry from Kill the Cast.
Thanks,
you.
Jerry.
You know?
And they just joined the Horrorphilia Network. Yep.
Yes, they did. Awesome. Congrats, guys.
And here's where I have to sort of apologize to Jerry, too, is because I double booked tonight. I was supposed to record with them tonight, and I had to push it to next week because we'd had this date set for a while. So we were supposed to record Easter Sunday with Kill the Cast, and all of a sudden it's like it dawns on me like, oh no, I just double booked the night, and I gotta keep with my prior engagement. So yeah, I know he's gonna have some words for me when I'm on the show next Sunday. He's gonna, because I don't do Horror Corridor anymore. I just do guest appearances.
So wait, so you guys didn't realize, like, when you said we're recording on Easter Sunday, that day was actually Easter?
The narrative was more like, let's do this 2 Sundays from now.
Oh, okay.
That was Easter, homie, please.
Even Brandon knew it was Easter.
Brandon's like, he's cooking up his ham. He's just like, I can't wait to celebrate the resurrection of Christ.
Oh, jeez.
Don't strike me down.
Well, you picked wisely.
God.
They can kill the cast, we'll kill the ratings.
Well, they're coming for us. Jerry was telling me, he's like, listen, as far as Horrorphilia ratings go, I'm coming for you guys. And because he's like, who's the top shows? I'm like, well, I guess he's asking me because he's got my phone number. He's got street cred. And he's just like, who's the top shows? I was like, well, I told him. And I was like, well, with Banana Laser out of the way, I think I'm actually in the top 4 now because that's what Jason Lloyd told me. And I was like, holy crap, I think I'm maybe rising out of the basement now. I might be able to get like a mid-tier apartment in the Horrorphilia building or something like that. We got to talk about this, but so I'm not quite at Exploding Headquarters yet, although I'll have my taste of number 1 when this top 10 comes out. But wouldn't it be horrible, you guys, if for me, if no, check this out. If I jinx you, because like 22 Shots episode 100 comes out and it's like the first time you guys got number 2, and it's just like, yeah, Watson's listeners didn't help, but you know what? My listeners got my back and your back, because it's all your listeners that listen to me. So.
And all that stuff Jason Lloyd said to you, he was lying.
Hey, is Jerry on? Are they recording Kill the Cast without you right now?
They're doing another episode, and then I'm going to join, because they go fast. Like, Jerry is not like I am, where I'm just like, I'll take 10 years to put out every episode. He's just like, what if I put out episodes instead of that? And I was like, oh, that's a really good point you have, podcasting-wise. So.
I love how this show has no format.
No, didn't I tell you guys?
We got a format.
This is our big 2007, the Year in Horror show. We did this once before, show 18. We talked about 1981, and we talked about some movies, and we talked about the year. So now here we are, 18 episodes later, which just
coincidence?
Wasn't planned.
That's fucking crazy.
18 and 36.
Remember that 18 backwards was 81, and 36 backwards is not 7.
Yeah.
Dude, this is like the documentarian from like Room 237 right here. Holy crap.
Right. And 63 is 36 backwards, and 6 plus 3 equals 9, and I have a 9-inch cock.
Whoa, and Brandon's 36 years old and wants that 9-inch whatever.
I'm 36 and I can eat all those 9 inches.
And your cock just grew 1.5 inches in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was 7.5.
It's like the Grinch. And
it did grow. Yes,
and it grew 3 sizes that day.
Is that Mr. T?
Yeah.
Okay, quit my jibber jabber. 2007. Here we are. What can I say? We're doing 2 reviews. We're doing Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and we are doing Wreck. 2 movies from 2007, or are they? But more on that later. But yes. 2007, it's going to be a great show. I'll get to everything later. I'll explain why it's so perfect that Watson's here for this very show, but not just yet. We're not to that segment yet. Guys, did you get the email?
No.
It's all good. This is a new listener, so I want to feature him because some people actually listen. Hello, my name is Hudson Williams. I'm a 17-year-old diehard horror fan from upstate New York. I discovered your show because, if I remember correctly, you followed me on Instagram. So great job with the viral marketing. That's what we do.
Oh, nice, man.
Now movies are my life. I'm even going to Ithaca College. I've been there to study film next year. And
to take a dump?
Yeah, I was there a whole weekend. Ithaca College. Yeah.
Wow, that must have been a big dump.
Oh, shit. I would never be pursuing this career if it wasn't for horror films.
If it wasn't for me? Thank you. Thank you, Hudson.
See? I have even dabbled in making slasher horror shorts myself. Some of my favorite horror shorts are Lights Out, Scorsese's The Big Shave, and 2 a.m. The Smiling Man.
Love that one.
Yeah, that's creepy as hell.
I gotta see it. I haven't seen any of it.
Really good.
I saw Lights Out because eventually I saw it, but...
Smiling Man's good.
Nice. I'll check it out. This leads to my question. If you were to make a horror short, what style of film would you work with? Would it be a throwback 80s slasher or a gritty Saw-like short? Would you focus on a masked killer or a more supernatural evil? Lots of gore or a more subtle original Halloween take on blood? Would you go for scares or gross outs or just a spooky atmosphere like Clickety Clackety, The Witch? CGI or practical effects? Big budget or low budget? Digital or film? Now, by no means answer all these questions. No, we'd be here.
All right, next question.
But use them as a guide to really flesh out what your short would be like. My 2 shorts are 80s throwback slasher films based on a killer evil doll named Booba. I really wanted the 80s vibe, so I gave the first film a scratched film look, inspired hammy acting, and embraced bad effects. Then, with the sequel, I made it more like a crappy VHS follow-up. So more cheap effects, more dumb explosions, and random VHS tracking. I love the 80s, and I wish I lived in them. Yeah, they were the best. So my shouts work as a fun tongue-in-cheek slashers from the area. My shorts, not my shouts, sorry. From the era I long for. And now I want to hear what you would do. Keep up the amazing work and keep ripping on Brandon.
Oh,
is the nasally cute one.
God, he is.
So, thank you very much, Hudson Williams. And thank you.
I love it when 17-year-old boys send me their shorts.
Oh.
They call them baldies.
Short films. We call them baldies.
Oh.
Man.
Okay.
I love it.
It is a good question. Now, before we answer anything, I must say that I was running kind of late this weekend, and I just remembered the two videos right before we went on air. So I was about 3 minutes into the first one, and then I got a text saying, are we ready? And then we all jumped online. So I'm going to have to discuss them more on the next show. But I did see a Booba doll come out. So I saw that part.
Oh, yeah? What color is Booba?
This one was yellow. Boobas are different. Are you familiar with boobas?
No, I'm familiar with these.
I just like
shorts.
put my hands on
Booba is
two
yellow.
big booba. Oh, booba.
Two big yellow
Like
boobas.
milky yellow boobas.
Milky?
Yellow? She's jaundiced?
Yeah.
So Christian goes on one of those websites, and it's Asian girls with that are milking.
Oh, man.
And I just run around with a cup of coffee.
And you use their milk for the coffee.
Yeah. I just said double.
Whoa.
Who else watched the shorts?
He described them perfectly. He really captured those feels.
Yeah, definitely.
And they were a lot of fun.
All right. Very cool.
You all three of you, four including Mr. Watson here, have the answer to what kind of short you'd make, or
Slasher, obviously.
you don't like slashers?
No, not at all. I would make a slasher, and it would be it would be in the middle. Like he said, would it be Halloween or would it be gory? I wouldn't have over-the-top gore because I would focus on suspense. So I try to make it a combination of Halloween and Friday the 13th. Of course, typical answer. That's me. That's what I want to do. I want to try to replicate those amazing slashers that I love. So, okay, I know, but it's the truth.
What? Who did that sound?
Brandon, that's his new thing.
Oh,
That's my new thing. If I don't like something, I did it to you earlier. You didn't
no,
hear
I know that you'll do it like everything at everything I say. Holy crap!
I was messing around. It's
Oy
all
vey.
in good.
What would you do, Brandon, then? Big shot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Big shot, Brandon.
Not that
no,
big.
I don't know anything about the technical side of filmmaking, but I would definitely want it to be done digitally because I want it to look as crisp as possible. And I actually wrote a little story for it.
Wow.
Ooh, that's going
Read
way
it
too
to
far.
me. Read it to me. Come on.
All right.
Brandon.
I'm going to read this. It might be a little cliche, but this is the type of stuff that I would like to see in shorts. I'm sure this has been made before, but here it is.
Dicks? You want
Big
Dicks
juicy
shorts,
cock.
right?
Close up of a 9.5-inch black dunk.
Oh.
No, this is gonna sound wrong now when I start this. Okay, we start with a we start with a close up of an 18-year-old young man's face, and he's laying. No, and he's. I fucked myself. Oh god.
Oh, you fucked him.
And
He's
laying-
17, man.
No, he's
No,
18.
18. He made
I
him
made
legal.
it legal. Of course, I made it legal. His name is Hudson. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I was talking about. Hashtag Hudson, you're awesome.
No, okay, so we start on a close-up of this 18-year-old young man's face. He's laying there staring into space in like a state of euphoria. Then a montage begins of flashing scenes of him graduating high school, partying, meeting the girl of his dreams in college, getting married, buying a dream home, having children, teaching his children all such things, dancing with his wife, walking his daughter down the aisle, getting older with his wife, playing with his grandchildren, and the scenes just get faster and faster. And finally, we go back to the image of his face, and you see a small smile on his face as a tear starts to roll down his eye, and we pan out to see him laying in the hall with a gunshot wound to the stomach, clenching at it. Then we pan out even further to see one of his peers, a gunman, standing over him, and we see the emptiness in his face. He pulls the trigger, and continues walking down the halls as we see other dead victims running and screaming and panicking for their lives. The end.
Hey,
I love it.
that's really good.
Thank you.
Very American.
Yeah. Very, unfortunately, inspired by too much real shit, but...
Way to bring down the show, Bruce.
Look at Dave.
I'm just kidding.
The only twist that I could think of that, and it doesn't even need to happen because that was perfect, would be that he was a shooter. And maybe, I guess he has to be alive based on your version of the story, but I thought he could have taken his own life, and as the camera pans back, he's holding a gun, and you see all the carnage as the camera keeps panning.
And then maybe he shoots himself as the fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah, I like that.
Want to know something weird? When Brandon, when you were explaining the story and you said the gunshot in the stomach and then turn and see, I thought it was going to be suicide. That's where I thought you were going with it. So that's fucking
Same here,
weird.
actually. Yeah.
Wow, we all on the same
then
page.
maybe no. Then maybe the fact that it didn't go that route is better because we all expected it to go that route. So then Brandon's, funny enough, got the right idea.
In terms of filming it, I know nothing. I actually tried to look into digital versus film and try to understand, and I couldn't even begin to understand what I was reading.
Well, if the sky's the limit, I'd shoot film since it is like sort of dying art now. Give me a budget. Give me a high budget. Why not? For a short film, I think I would do the final chase. I'd soup it up, but with some of the key murders happening throughout the final chase. So you got like a 20-minute film that just encapsulates like a slasher movie.
See, that's funny because that's what I was thinking for mine, except that mine was going to be a recount of the kills that happened earlier in that evening. They were just going to be shown in that final chase. But I wanted to make it suspenseful, so I don't know how many times I'd be going flashing shit. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I agree also on film. Mine would have to be. It would be done on film. What about you, Mr. Watson? Do you have a short film?
I do. Well, first off, I was digging that main regarding his shorts. I was digging that main synthy theme that would recur throughout both of the films. Like I thought that was pretty neat because I'd want to score my own film too. You heard that Christmas composition I did? Like I'd want to do something kind of creepy and 80s like that, but. I don't know if we're talking about how we'd personally handle our own short film. Like I've had this idea for a while now, and it's not a traditional short exactly. It's actually a music video that I'd want to do for one of my like dark hip hop songs that I've always wanted to do. And it's not that one I showed you guys earlier, but I've already done the location scouting for this idea. It's this abandoned warehouse-like structure where all the live concert shots with the crowd would be. And oddly enough, there's even a stage in that weird abandoned building and everything. So I'd put up a bunch of torches to make the concert shot seem unsettling. But the main plot of the video would see these two people in a forest, which I've already picked that location out too. And they're surrounded by black-robed figures in some kind of dark ritual. And as the video progresses, with the cultists looking on, the two people in the circle are bound in marriage by some horned-like demon before proceeding to happily gut one another. It'd be like a dark-themed interpretation of like a marriage ritual, basically. And I'd want it to be classy, bloody, dark, like think Penny Dreadful, but done in 4 minutes over a dark ambient hip-hop instrumental. Lots of long takes. I don't know. That's what I've got. So that's kind of what's up here.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow.
Gangsters.
You guys, you guys got in. You guys got deep. Much better than me. I was just basic as could be. But I'm thinking of slasher. I'm thinking, what else? Well, what else could I do if I want to do it slasher style? What else can I do?
You're basic.
I'm just a simple guy. I mean, it's been said before. So, all right, next show I will have watched the Boobas, both of them. So you guys, I started to ask the question: are you guys familiar with Boobas?
Is this a real thing?
Are they like Beanie Babies?
Aha. Okay. Now check it out. The reason I know about this is because when my daughter was at that age, this was something that was in fashion. Boobas are in fashion. They were for a short time.
Like black.
Exactly, but these were Boobas. This was before that. Right. So it's a stupid show. It's kind of like Teletubbies, but even weirder. And they're different colors, and they go, Booba. They say that a lot, and they look like They look like they know what they look like. Uncircumcised penises almost, but they're fat too. They're all different colors and shit.
Stop! You're making my mouth water.
Anyway, it was a really strange show for like very young children. You know, it was just weird and trippy and colorful, and you know. So when I saw that doll, that yellow booba, I said, "It is booba. It's the same thing." So that's what it is.
There is a Teletubby line in the short.
Really? Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not spoiling it.
I just Googled the boobas, and I remember that show from when my daughters were young. Holy crap! And they do look like uncircumcised penises.
I know. I've seen a few in pornos. I know. But they're fat.
I've seen a few in
pornos. Unfortunately.
And Christian's felt a few in his anal cavity.
Hey! Where's that laugh track, Christian?
There's another edit.
Yes.
I should do 2 cuts of this show. 1 cut, and Brandon's not in it at all. But we don't say anything about it. I think that's hilarious.
I do too.
Oh, I love you, B, but that's hilarious.
Don't worry. You'll be on your own podcast with each other soon.
What's that about?
Don't even start with these two.
Jokes.
It's bad enough.
Rookie square.
They're gonna be grab ass in the whole show, Christian. These two, believe me.
Well, I have a feeling that Dave isn't down with it.
I just think you guys are funny. You're entertaining, the two of you.
Oh,
you know?
Jeez.
So listen, I'm doing 2 more things now that I've never done before. I'm reading them for the first time live on the air. I don't know what they say. One is a message from our buddy Jim K. It just came in like half an hour before we started recording, and I messaged him back saying, I'm not even going to read this until we go on live, just for shits and giggles. And because we only had 1 email, I put that thing on the group page saying, hey, we only got 1 email. Does anybody have a question for us? I have not looked at any of those responses yet. So everything I'm doing is straight, as is, live.
Nice.
So let's see how it goes. All right. Jim K. Hello, Dave. I haven't messaged in a while, so I thought I'd send you another question. Yes, I always message you this way because I'm too lazy to send an email. I knew it. Great responses to my previous questions. I figure I'd bug Brandon this time since he's the Canadian basher.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What? Brandon CB, he says. Canadian basher. And pose a question that I don't remember if you ever covered. Although I think Christian did his solo cast, I'd like Brandon and everyone else to give their top 5 pure Canadian maple syrup Canadian horror films and no co-productions, just to make it more interesting. It was actually a challenging list to put together. Here's my 5. The Changeling, Ghost Keeper. I don't know that movie. It's from 81. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. My Bloody Valentine, Black Christmas, and Videodrome. Don't worry, Brandon. We Canadians have lots of love for you. If the pod was a person, you'd be the skid mark on its underwear. So.
Well, I could go first because that is how I did my list. I said my rules were no co-productions because we had February. We had, the Black Coat's Daughter now, as you guys know. The Martyrs, for Christ's sake. I mean, there's so many great co-productions as well. But my top 5, I'll have to do my top 6 because Prom Night made my number 6. Then it was The Editor from 2014. My Bloody Valentine came in at number 4. Number 3 was 5150 Elm's Way from 2009. And if you haven't seen that flick, check it out, everybody. And, of course, number 2 was Black Christmas, 74. And number 1 was Videodrome.
Of course. So I guess I fucked that up, guys, because a question like that requires time. But again, it came a half hour before the show started. So we are going to have to answer this next show. And Mr. Watson...
I feel like I could do 5.
I don't even know what the fuck's Canadian and what's not, but if you want to be my guest,
yeah, same here, man. Yeah, I don't know what a co-production is and what isn't. I'd have to do some research on that, find out what qualifies and what doesn't. So I love your smile right now on the camera, Brandon. Gosh, you look so dreamy.
Brandon,
all right, I'll go.
Go ahead.
What?
No, I'm saying go ahead. Be my guest. If you feel you got the power, you can do it. Then by all means.
I might start naming co-productions though, so I'm not sure.
That's why I'm
Then
not
get
answering,
out.
gangster.
Then
I'll help you
thank
out.
you.
Was Pin a co-production?
No. Pin's good.
Okay.
That's
Pin.
It's
good.
on my list. Okay, it's on my list too.
Pin, Dead Ringers, Black Christmas.
This is like a game show.
I
Come
love
on,
that
keep
one.
going. Keep going.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
American Mary.
All right.
Co-production, I don't know.
No, he's good. He's good. So
Oh, okay. I
And
love that Christian just knows.
I know, right? He just knows. Yep.
Happy Birthday to Me.
you might be okay with that. I think it was a co-production though. I think that was
All
a
right,
U.S.
Rituals then from 1977.
Rituals. Yeah, okay. I think that was a co-production too, actually.
All right, Girl House.
You're in.
Stop.
Done.
You
Yeah.
see, you couldn't just do it like I was gonna do. And I was even gonna ask Watson if he could proxy his and message it to him. We can read it on the show. It's gonna be
I'll do
real
that.
nice. See,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I'll do an official one for next show because I was just naming them and they were all out of order.
It's a fantastic question, honestly.
I agree. It is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because there's
next
so
show.
many goddamn good fucking Canadian horror films, guys.
Oh, and My Bloody Valentine. I forgot the name.
Okay, Mr. Void. And now I remember why you had the Void so high. It's Astron 6. I wasn't even thinking.
Wait a second. Are
It's
we
an
about to
automatic
get,
9.
are we about to get in a discussion about the void here?
No. because
Okay, all right.
I
'cause-
think you're a lover too, and no.
Oh, we'll talk another time then.
Yeah, man, bring those member berries with you next time, okay?
Oh, go fuck yourself with those.
Dude, okay, that was actually my thing. I got no member berries with this movie, and that's not at all my appeal for the film. So, but anyway, that's
It's
But
plus
that's
because it's a
for another
kick-ass
time.
fucking movie. Is what the appeal is.
I got like we don't got to get into that. That's sidetracking.
That's not. Yeah. But no, I mean, you said you said enough. I believe you, and that's great. You don't have member berries, and you still love it, so that's awesome. But then again, if you would have had those member berries, you would have realized that this was all stuff that's been done before, and it might not have impressed you as much. So
Hey,
kind of-
remember berries.
And absolutely, I think you made some good points on that. I'm not going to get into any of the points I was thinking of earlier to bring up, but yeah, I think you made some good points too that I'm not going to sit there and take away from about the void. But I do think that there are other people like I am, like you could shout out like Mark Nato or Brian Sammons, who'd be like, this is like the cosmic horror film we've never had before. Pure Lovecraft, and don't think tentacles like Brandon's Japanese porn. Like I'm talking, but anyway, that's another time, another place. We can do this on Horror Corridor.
Hey, listen, being attacked by the member berries, there's no shame in that. It happens to everybody. I was just pointing out what I saw.
Is that your favorite berry? Are those in season right now, member berries?
They're always in season.
So juicy.
Especially, yes. Yeah, juicy as all hell.
Juicy member berries.
And, yeah. Member. Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Wait, are we still on emails right now, guys?
Well, there are no more emails, so I was going
got
to
one.
the listener. Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
It's like 3 lines. It just says, got it today. It says, I understand that you're slated to be on the next, or shoot, I can't tell. I'm stroking out. No, I understand that you're slated to be the next guest on the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast. Those guys sure are great, aren't they? I just want to admonish you to continue to take the high road and don't sink to their level. Sincerely, Mr. Watson from Horror Corridor. So that's all I got. That's the only email I got.
I've got a voicemail.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yes, this is Dr. Lipschitz. Dr. Richard Lipschitz.
Good.
Calling in for the very first time. I've been an attending physician for the last 20 years or so, and I practice in the field of urology, specializing in the male reproductive system. I'm essentially a dick doctor, and since my name is Richard, or Dick, the irony is not lost on me when people at the hospital call me Dr. Dick, the Dick Doctor. It's rather humorous. But I'm calling in because word got around to me that one of the hosts of this podcast knows me personally. In fact, Brandon Orlick is a patient of mine. He's got a rather adorable looking penis, if I do say so myself, but it has become shriveled and dried up from underuse. I made attempts to prescribe to him some hot-ass bitches, but this did not take. We're also doing the best we can to control his herpes outbreaks, but that aside, I would give him a clean bill of health, certainly. In any case, I'd like to end this call with a urologist joke. Patient goes to the urologist for a follow-up. He gets into the examination room and he waits. Finally, the doctor comes in and the patient asks, "What's my prognosis?" The doctor then responds, "You're in trouble." Get it? Like urine? But
That's a
also
Brandon
that
joke.
the man is experiencing health troubles as well. Well, thank you. I'll call in at a later date once I hear what this podcast is about exactly. So, have a nice day.
Wow.
Now I know where Brandon gets his jokes from. Total Brandon joke. You're in
You
trouble.
know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of that guy from the Muppets, the eagle, the blue eagle guy.
Yeah, Sam.
So are you really a patient of Dr. Lipschitz, Brandon?
He really hit my diagnosis right on the head.
Oh, man.
I hope you call back. Okay, I'm going to our group page, and if you aren't a member, what are you waiting for? We're the only one out there. Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast. Just
There is another Exploding Heads out there. It's like some fucking comedy troupe.
For real?
Yeah.
Because there's another horror corridor. My son named my podcast, and I've noticed a bunch of the people who like I talk with on a regular basis have liked that other horror corridor page. I don't really know what it is, but like, yeah, if you're trying to like horror corridor, no, join horror corridor. Don't like it because I don't know who that person is.
yeah, I don't like it.
If they're not on Facebook, they're definitely on YouTube.
You're right. The Exploding Heads comedian, 2,000 people. It's 3 guys.
Yeah.
Three guys,
Bitch.
a Jew, a Canadian, Joe Pesci.
It's 3
And
guys
me.
that are not as good looking as us, but
Oh, hell
they're
no.
there. Don't
Yeah.
like it. Don't go to the like page and like it with that thumb up. Go to the group and it
Yes.
says Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, and then press that button and
Join.
then ask to join. See? You can like them in your mind, just don't like them physically. It's like pedophiles. You can like them in your mind all you want, just don't like them.
Don't act on the urge, everybody.
Okay, 16 comments. I don't know what any of this says. It could be nothing, but I don't care. I'm just glad that anybody's listening to this show at all. So I thought I would get some questions from some people. So Warren Mooney says, what's your favorite villain from the 80s horror craze? Well, Christian and I are easy, I think. Right? That's Jason.
Yes. Jason.
Angela Baker.
Oh, of course.
Chicks with dicks. It's
Of
safe.
course. Angela.
Yeah.
Angela? Remember that fucking Who's the Boss?
You know, do you think I would be remiss to put this to literature, or should I keep to films? If it's literature, I'd say like The Vampire Lestat probably, because that's when millions of people were reading those Anne Rice books, and he was like the gangster, just being bad, being good, doing all this crazy stuff. But like, I guess if we're talking movies / books, I might go Jack Torrance, because especially the book, but also the movie too. You see this man going mad and just about to do the second worst thing to his son, and there's something really that's 1980 that gets in there, and just the book. Well, the book isn't 80s though, so I'm gonna go Vampire Lestat literature wise / Jack Torrance. Yeah.
Wait, if we're going literature, I'm gonna go with the duck from Are You My Mother? Because that's probably the last book I read.
That tractor in that book like disturbed me. I was like, what's it gonna say and what's it gonna do? Like, oh man.
Yeah, it was upsetting.
The fire truck was worse, though. Great answer on Jack Torrance. I mean, you know how I feel about The Shining. I fucking love The Shining. And yeah, wow. Great answer. Okay. Don Friesenelli.
Freeze.
Freeze himself. Yep. Dick the Free. Dictor, I called him.
All Don wants to say is Christian's taste in music sucks.
Oh, Dr. Freeze. Leave him alone.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Shit. Okay, Freeze. What horror film would you personally rate as a classic that you can only bring to rewatch once? Ooh, I don't know. Wow, rewatch.
What do you mean? Like a classic film that we can only watch one more time and then that's it?
I'm just reading what the words say. What horror film would you personally rate as a classic that you can only bring to rewatch once?
So we could probably put our own meaning on that, like if it means like it's so disturbing, or we just kind of are. I'll go first on this one to give you guys time, because I did see this one. All right, and this might be controversial, homies, but like And I like this movie a lot. Classic, absolute awesome movie. But you know what? I could probably never watch Alien again. I don't do rewatches. You guys, I think you guys know that about me. I'm not a big rewatch guy. And I love Alien. I think it's fantastic. Showed my son that movie earlier this year. And we were just both like, that's what's up. But you know what? If someone was like, yeah, you can't watch that again, I'd be like, oh, okay. So I'm just going to throw it out. Classic, awesome movie that I could not give up. I wouldn't want to. If someone's like, what if you wanted to watch it in 10 years? I'd be like, well, then I would watch it. But I'll just throw that other classic that I could probably be fine with saying I've seen it enough. So
The Exorcist.
I agree with Brandon. I was just about to say it. The Exorcist.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's been so long since I've watched it, and honestly, I will watch it again, but if I only had to watch it one more time, fine.
I've
that's a
watched
good choice, you guys.
Yeah, I like it. Great movie. Scared the shit out of me when I was younger. But yeah, I don't have to ever see it again.
Okay. I got one, and I love this movie. And I don't know why this is the one that came to mind, but if I had to pick one, it would be Evil Dead. I love it, but for some reason, I've seen it a shitload of times, and I haven't gone back to watch it in like 2.
Whoa.
If I could only watch it one more time.
He just choked out.
Remix.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yes, stutter and mumbles.
Uh-oh.
You're back on.
That's okay.
You're back. You're back, man. You're back.
Did you like it?
Plus, I can watch Evil Dead too.
That's a good choice too. I like that.
It's
I
actually nice.
actually like all the answers because I agree with
Me too.
all three of those movies. If I had to give all three of them up, I could do that.
Well,
Brandon
that's-
stole my fire. Now I'm doing it.
Virginity.
TV itch.
My anal.
It's all about that.
It's all about that click and that clack.
Okay. All right. David Andriana says, off-topic question, satisfied with the Sabres' moves? Oh, have a great show, brother. He's talking about Buffalo hockey. In a quick answer, yes. Yes, I'm satisfied. It's a start. I wish they do the same thing with the Bills. And that's that. So, okay. Mike Merriman, speak of the devil. How about some predictions for the Bates Motel season finale? Oh, jeez. Are you guys caught up? First and
I am
foremost?
not. Please don't ruin this.
I will not. You know me.
I'm still on episode 1. I haven't started it yet.
I'm saying I'm actually right where Brandon is. We're planning to watch it together.
Oh, sure, playing grab ass. I know.
This is Bates Motel.
Gosh, he has been ignoring my messages lately. I don't know if we're as close as we were.
No, we're
He
close.
told
We're
me.
close.
Oh, I
He
know we
told
are,
me
buddy.
I
he
felt bad
about it.
that. I felt
Wait,
terrible.
He told me he felt
Oh,
bad.
dude, I was
See?
like just joking. You're actually referencing a real thing right now, and I'm not, dude. No freaking way. You're good. Nope. No, we're not doing this here. God, I need you in my life.
See, yeah. See, Christian? They're just going to grab ass the whole show, these two.
Yeah.
Kind of. What? Just wait till you hear the Rocky IV Horror Picture Show. Brandon's like, wait, what's that? Yeah, that's our new podcast I just made up on the spot.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
No, wait,
Rocky 4 or
Rock-
Nightmare on Elm Street 2?
Rocky IV. Come on.
Hello.
Yeah, Rocky IV Horror Picture Show. But no, we're reading the Facebook comments. I didn't mean to announce mine and Brandon's pretend podcast that we're not actually doing, but are not gonna do. It's just basically where we compare every horror movie to Rocky IV and then review the Rocky IV the same way every time.
Oh, then I'm
And then
in.
we both sing "There's No Easy Way Out" at the end every time.
Then I'm fucking
Every
in.
single time. So it's number 1 on Horrorphilia already, and it hasn't come out. Sorry, guys.
Oh, hey,
am I
maybe
doing?
we'll get famous and it'll really hit like what's that like Tusk did? It was the idea they had in a podcast, remember?
Dang.
Yeah. Okay, Jerry Herring, what would your dream interview be for the show? Has to be alive though. One from each of y'all cats. Wow, a dream interview.
Good question.
Tom Savini.
Nice.
Black Phillip.
Oh.
He's not alive. He died.
Lickety clackety bam lamb. What's that one? Bam a lamb.
Would you like some butter?
Butter. Bam a lamb for a pretty dress. Bam a lamb.
So Dave's got Tom Savini, Brandon Black Phillip.
Clive Barker.
Oh
Why?
man, are you gonna admit to him what you did with that laser disc?
Right?
I may.
Oh
I
man.
didn't do it. But you make it sound like I got him to sign it to sell it. I got it signed, and
What
like
I'd think if I were him.
10 years later, I sold it.
Yeah. No, he'd be like insulted if you didn't sell it.
I got to tell you a story. I was listening to a podcast, and a guy on this podcast said that he knew a guy that waited in line at a convention, to meet Clive Barker. And when he got to the front of the line, this guy actually made a film. And he wanted Clive Barker to sign the film that he made because he was a big Clive Barker fan. Maybe it was based in some of his work. I don't remember, but it was a film that this guy made. So Clive Barker said to him, how about you autograph it and give it to me, and I'll watch the film when you let me keep the film. And he said yes. So Clive Barker's a hell of a nice guy to show that type of interest in a fan. You know what I'm saying? He's like, no, since you made a film, I want your autograph, and I'm going to take your film and put it in my house and watch this movie and say, hey, this is who gave it.
Oh, no, I told you, man. He was a great guy.
Wait, Brandon, is your real answer Black Phillip?
No, but I really am not that ambitious about talking to anyone.
I think for me, I'd want to interview Michael Dougherty. I feel
nice,
like I'd
man.
have a lot to say to that guy. I feel like we could talk because he's 2 for 2 hard for me. Like he's hard for me. He's 2 for 2. Krampus and Trick or Treat. Like I don't know how this Godzilla thing's gonna go because I'll admit it. I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, but I'll watch it because he's actually behind the whole thing. So I'll check it out. But so far 2 for 2. I'd love to. His interviews are so well done too. That guy's well spoken. I'd love to chat it up with Michael Dougherty or Danielle Harris, but not talk one time about Halloween. How would that go? Ask her about motherhood. Ask her about all these different things about her ambitions behind the camera. And then meanwhile, while everybody hates the interview I did because they want to hear about Halloween, like she says, best interview ever with a hashtag. I'm just like hashtag. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! So yeah, that's what's up.
Stick with Michael Dougherty.
Yeah, I'll stick with Michael Dougherty. You're right. Those are the jokes.
Michael Winslow.
Michael Winslow.
Michael Winslow. This show's going down the shit tubes fast.
Oh my god! Like everybody's gonna be like, never have Watson on near you guys again. Oh my god.
Hey, whatever. We do what we do.
I thought a Watt gave the show power.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm literally dragging this train down.
Jesus,
You're the
who
man.
sucked the
You're the
funny
man.
out of the room?
Okay, Marina Turnbull asks, who is your favorite horror star that you've met personally, and also your least favorite, the one that you found the most rude? Well, I haven't really met anybody except Bill Moseley, and he was awesome. Have at it, boys.
All right, well, I've met Tom Savini, awesome guy. Kane Hodder, awesome guy. Same convention way back when. Linnea Quigley, Herschel Gordon-Lewis.
Wow.
Rest in peace. He was fucking amazing. And Clive Barker, of course, that wasn't at a convention. That was at that book signing. All of them have been great. Have had no bad experiences. Like I just saw on the Skeleton Crew with one of them, Jerry having a bad experience with Tom Savini. Weird. Maybe he was just tired. I liked what I talk about going back in like 91. No lineups, no panels. We walked right up to them. They were walking around the floor of the convention. You went up, talked with them. Hey, I love your work on Maniac. Boom. Talk to them for 10 minutes. You're off. Next guy's talked to him.
And that was the Herschel
awesome.
Gordon-Lewis.
That was Herschel Gordon-Lewis,
Anything
yeah.
on Maniac.
That's great. I told the story already. He gave me his home address.
That's so cool. Wow.
He was like,
And now it's useless. You had to tell us now.
well, it was useless. He died way before we started this podcast.
No. Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure.
No. No, he just died this
R.I.P.
last year. He
HGL.
died.
He died last year.
Yeah. Yeah, just last year. We could have gone to his house and, done
It
it live
wasn't
from
just
there.
last year, was it?
2
Mm-hmm.
years ago.
Yeah, way before you
Like-
started the podcast.
Like 5 months ago. It was like 5 months ago, I think.
What was that laugh?
That was because I don't know if I'm fucking wrong here. I don't think I am, but
He died recently.
I only met one guy and I loved him.
Yeah, everyone I've met has been nice. Tom Atkins was awesome. Amanda Bierce was awesome. Lloyd Kaufman I met recently. He was great.
Cool.
Alyssa Rose was really nice. She's a hugger,
That's
by
who
the
I
way.
thought. She's what?
She's a hugger. She hugs everyone.
Oh, I thought that was going to be your answer to if you could interview one person. Felissa Rose, I was going to say was your.
No, she's really cool. She even gave me her information. She's like, I'll do the podcast. I know she does a lot of podcasts, but I told her, I said, we don't do interviews.
What'd she say? Will she review a movie with us?
I told her. She said yes.
Well, call her up and say, pick a
Cool.
movie.
Yeah.
It's all this, any movie. How about this? Tell her any slasher from the 80s. Your pick. We'll review it. How's
Okay.
that?
I'll reach out to her. In terms of people I don't like who I've met, just Bill Cosby. But I don't know. I was real dizzy. And then I don't know. Then I woke up and he was gone. My anal cavity was sore. But other than that,
Bam a lamb. All right. What about you, Mr. Watson? Have you met anybody?
No, man, I've never met anybody in the horror circuit. I don't have a lot to say on this, so yeah. Next question. Next
question.
You call yourself a fucking fan.
Mike Merriman gets a second chance.
I know.
What is the better Lipton seasoning? Dried onion for making onion dip, or the dried noodles and seasoning for stroganoff? You know, Mike, 2 chances. 0 for 2.
The onions. Definitely
The onions is the answer? All right.
That's what I'm going with.
I agree. The onions. What do you call 4 cows standing in a circle masturbating? Beef stroganoff.
Hey, zing.
But
Stroganoff.
It's the only stroganoff joke I had, and it was a ridiculous question. Okay, the Ram Man. Are we ever going to get a crossover with the Skeleton Crew? No. Next question. Casey Bates.
Woo!
Better way to be resurrected from the dead. Number 1, flaming dog piss, Nightmare 4.
Oh my God.
2, Arnold Horshack sticking a metal pole in your body and lightning striking said pole, using Horshack instead of Jarvis for this question only. Okay, wait a minute. Well, flaming dog piss is the worst way to get resurrected ever, so by default, that the only thing that could be worse is if the flaming dog that was pissing, or not the flaming dog.
The flaming dog. 8 out of 5.
A flaming dog stabbing you with a metal rod, resurrecting you would be worse.
no,
I actually heard that all dogs are actually bisexual.
You dog, you.
No, I'm serious. I think they were all bisexual.
Just the men. The women aren't.
I don't want to be pissed on, so I'll take the other one.
Which number was the piss? Was that part 4?
Contrary to what I say, I don't want to be pissed on.
You said you don't.
Contrary to what I say.
I don't want to be pissed on, so I'll take the Horseshack.
Hashtag golden showers. And number 2 for me.
I'll take Horseshack.
Well, I'll take Horseshack. Anything's better than a dog that pees fire. I'm sorry. It could be anything. It could be a baby puking fucking bullets. I take that over a dog peeing fire. Okay, let's move on. Casey Bates again. Oh, Mr. T. I love Mr. T. All right, watch Slugs today, which brings up this question. What garden pest or insects that, if mutated by radiation, would scare you the most? I.e. rabbits, earwigs, butterflies, etc. So, garden pests or insects that, if mutated by radiation, would scare you most.
Fucking
Well, I'll tell you
earwigs.
right now,
Earwigs for sure.
Dragonflies. I'm afraid of dragonflies regular size.
Dragonflies? They're friendly.
Not if they're mutated, they're not. Dragonflies can fly. Wouldn't you be more afraid of something that could fly at you?
Oh, sure. If it was like the size of a plane, imagine those things just going wild, knocking 747s out of the sky. That'd be kind of bad.
Yeah.
Kind of.
How about 1,000,000 feet coming at you at a fucking Godspeed? Like,
No, and I'm with you on that. That's disgusting. That might be my choice, Christian. Like, holy crap, that'd be disgusting.
Oh, you're right. Ooh.
you can ride that dragonfly out of town. You're gonna get killed by that fucking.
Out of town. Like, bugs don't have to be that much bigger in order to take over the world, really. We already have a hard enough time with them little. If they were that much bigger, moving that fast, being that strong, like, holy crap. I was like riding my motorcycle one time. I reached like 100, and this dragonfly legit hit my helmet, and the plexiglass little visor fluctuated, and I was just, it exploded, and it was nuts, but it actually freaking shook my plexiglass little visor, and yeah, so bugs are crazy, man. You don't want to run to those on your motorcycle if they're like 3 feet big. You knock you off. The human ecosystem would go to hell if bugs got bigger. Any of them would do it for me. I'm going with the earwigs with Christian, though. That's crazy. Good choice, though, like on the dragonflies. That'd be scary. Brandon's asleep.
That's crazy. I don't know. Brandon's thinking about all different bugs and shit, I guess. Or he got bugged out.
He's researching bugs.
I'm very awkward around women, so giant ladybugs coming at me would be horrifying. I would freeze up. I wouldn't know what to say.
Good answer.
He's right, folks.
You know what's weird? I was having a conversation just like 3 hours ago. I was on my mother's back deck, and I was hanging out with my wife, my brother, his wife, chilling. And I don't know how we got into this conversation, but we did. And I said, imagine if every bird that we see around now just got huge, like times 100. They could take over the world. Just imagine. Wouldn't that be a scary movie?
Were you
Every
stoned?
bird just freaking grew.
Birdemic?
Oh, are they really big birds in Birdemic?
No.
I have no idea. I never saw it.
I never saw it either, but just imagine that if every bird, tomorrow morning, we all went to bed, we woke up in the morning, and every blue bird and every fucking bird that's out there in the trees was like 10 times its regular size.
The bluebirds, specifically.
Because there were no birds in it.
I was thinking about Big Bird.
Yeah.
What about Big Bird? What if Big Bird got smaller? Wouldn't that be terrifying? If he was like a foot tall?
What if Big Bird shrunk to the size of Woodstock and Woodstock grew to the size of Big Bird?
Honestly, we are going into a territory that I never thought we'd go into.
I know. Okay. Sam Edwards says, well, shit, who's the owner of the Lonely Heart? Oh, shit. Oh, I don't know, but he's much better than the owner of the Broken Heart, right?
Oh, well played, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Big Yes fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I met the drummer for Yes.
You met him? Was he cool?
Yeah. Well, I did like. It's not horror related exactly, but he was really nice. I was like writing. I was doing a write up for an event in Seattle where he was doing some guest judging for a big like local music showcase. It was a big event. I was doing like the write up for it. My girl was doing photography. Yeah, he was the worst horror icon that I ever met.
That bastard.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's catch our breath and come back with a more serious approach as we review Behind the Mask: The Rise of Esley.
That's me. Oh, great.
Hey, Ansley,
Oh, great.
get over here.
We'll be right back.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for calling me right back, homie. Hey, I wanted to ask you something if that's cool, man.
What do you want to tell me now, tough guy?
Tough guy. No. Hey, Dave. Like, I wanted to get your permission about something actually. But first, dude, I gotta tell you, I've been going through the Exploding Heads back catalog, and damn it, man, like you are more hilarious than anyone knows. You're super funny, homie.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. How the fuck am I
Dave.
funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Dave. No, it's nothing like... Dude, I didn't mean to offend you, okay? You're kind of breaking up a little, though, but if you can hear me, hey, listen, I just wanted to talk to you about something from a while back. So, remember a few months ago when those jokes were going around on Facebook about Brandon and I starting our own podcast? Well, dude, I think it's really going down.
You were serious about that?
Not at first. You know, we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to do. You know, we're both the Horrorphilia rookies. We've got good chemistry. Christian was being a total dick about it. So I don't know, we decided to really go ahead with it for real, though.
What are you staring at, you bald-headed Jew prick?
Jewish prick? Is Brandon there with you now? Zing. No, hey, he'll tell you. We talked to Jason Lloyd already about our new show. He thinks it's a great idea, and he's willing to give us a spot on the network. I just wanted to make sure you're cool with it since Christian isn't being very kind about it all, you
Where
know?
the fuck you get off talking to people about me behind my back going over my head?
No one is trying to go over your head, Dave.
What'd you think, I wasn't gonna find out?
Well, that's why I'm talking to you on the phone now.
You motherfucker, you!
Okay, I get that you're upset.
You motherfucker, you!
Okay, listen, look, if Brandon's there with you now, talk to him. You can say what you want to me over the phone, but what do you have to say to him, Dave? He's right there, tell him. What do you gotta say?
Get this through your head, you Jew motherfucker, you! You only exist out here because of me! That's the only reason. Without me, you, personally,
Dave.
every fucking wise guy still around, I'll take a piece of your fucking Jew ass!
Whoa,
That way
that's
you're gonna
anti-Semitic.
go. You're fucking wrong. Don't ever go over my fucking head again!
Dave,
you
listen, no one's
motherfucker, you!
Dave, listen, I'm just gonna hang up. I'm sorry that I asked anything. Look, Brandon's great, but, you know, if this guy means that much to you, I don't know. I'm sorry I asked.
I got no more use for this guy.
Don't say that. Like, look, what can I do to make this right? Like, what do you think I can do, Dave?
I think you should give it to me.
What?
I think you should give it to me. You motherfucker, you!
Okay, hey, you know what? You can have Brandon. I got Christian on the other line anyway. We're thinking about starting a franchise podcast. It should be a lot of fun. Anyways, clickety-clackety, buddy.
The Rise of Vern Troyer.
Yeah, we're back.
Behind the midget, the rise of Vern Troyer.
That's awesome.
All right.
Awesome. All right, well, make it official, Brandon. Go ahead.
Okay, Behind the Mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon, 2007, written and directed by Scott Glosserman. The next great psycho horror slasher, has given a documentary crew exclusive access to his life as he plans his reign of terror over the sleepy town of Glen Echo. You guys may speak now.
Where'd you get that synopsis?
The B.
I be not DB. I be. Never mind.
Who the fuck would have this in their top 10?
Yeah, that would be stupid if somebody did.
You know, I have some major issues with this film.
So do I.
What?
Final act.
Major issues. Yeah, the final act is
Okay.
Well.
Oh,
I mean,
maybe we shouldn't jump right there. We do
Yeah.
things differently here, Mr. Watt. Big Watt.
Oh,
No.
By the way,
knows?
I did forget to bring this up at the beginning of the show, not to jump back an hour and a half, but I was under the impression we're having Little Watt on the fucking show. Not
he'd
Big
be a
Watt.
better guest than I'm being. He'd be a better guest. He drank far less beer.
Hey, are you gonna make it? Are you gonna talk about it on the Horror Corridor? The first time Little Watt brings home a little twat.
Whoa. I told him that the first time he has his first kiss, he's got to say, "Give me some sugar, baby." Yeah.
All right.
Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah. Shout out to Little Watt. Even though I don't think he's listening to this foul mouth toilet of a show.
Well, since this episode fits into the continuity of Horror Corridor, he's going to put this episode probably up, with your permission, of course, up on the site when it fits into where it fits into my top 10 episodes. So he doesn't listen to the podcast anyway. What am I talking about? He doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not happening.
That's true.
No, my podcast, our podcast. He doesn't listen to it. Okay, so
no podcast.
So where do we want to start with this review of the rise of Leslie Vernon? Like, where do we want to start? I know you've all expressed you have major issues with this, and I think I know where some of that's going, but that sounds like when we kick into spoilers. So where should we start this?
Where should we start it? The beginning is not found footage. How about that? I noticed that this time because, for the show. And if you guys recall, I did the found footage podcast, and I was like, I included this, and I recalled it as being mockumentary style. And the first thing I noticed when I turned this movie on was that the way it begins, and the girls moving the brick, and they're foreshadowing to what's going to happen later, that is regular film style, not found footage at all. So that struck me, and that was the intro, so that's where I could start.
Well, it's sort of a flashback of found footage. I don't know. I thought that the film suffers not knowing what it wants to be. Like, it should have just stayed straight up a parody and a comedy. I thought it started out really well. I thought the jokes were really funny. I like the way they work Leslie into this world where Michael, Jason, and Fred are all real.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It is. It's a brilliant concept.
It's a smart script until the last act, but it's a smart script. That's great. I will give it credit for that. It's not scary in the slightest.
Exactly, because it's trying to be just too smart, and it's trying to be overly smart. It's like, give us some horror. It's trying to be too much like Scream, just without the actual slasher story.
So what do you think in terms of the meta aspect of this film as it compares to, say, something like Scream? Because for me, Scream was super successful because it didn't go as deep as Behind the Mask did. And I'm not into tearing things down in order to build other things up, because you all know I'm a fanboy of Rise of Leslie Vernon here, but Scream got a lot of credit for its genre analysis back in '96. But as great as that movie is, and I'm going to be talking about it on episode 9 of Horror Corridor in 10 years, but as great as Scream is, it never fully makes the leap from being cleverly self-referential to being a full-fledged deconstruction of the genre. It never reaches that point. And that's probably one of the reasons it was so successful, because Behind the Mask, not even 10 years later, it's almost like it was too smart. Like one of you said it already. It was like it was too smart for its own good. And I don't know how possible it is to blatantly throw phallic and yonic symbolism to a casual theater going crowd and expect them to go crazy for it. So I can see where anyone's coming from, in that regard. Definitely. It's a horror movie for horror movie lovers. And, such projects don't often translate well to the outside world. So, yeah.
But we're horror movie lovers.
Yeah, no,
right.
it's
Okay. No, fair enough.
I liked all that stuff. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead. I'll go over
No. You say it. Go ahead. You liked all that stuff.
No, I loved all that stuff. I thought it was clever and brilliant and great. But at the same time, we jump right into it with Leslie. That really very little is established with this character, and there's just characters in this film that feel like throwaway characters. Doc Halloran feels like a throwaway character, underutilized, and I just feel that Leslie wasn't ironed out enough. He's
fake.
I know,
he's making up this persona. So how much do you want to know about a fake
I know
persona?
he is, and I know they're planning on doing Before the Mask, and that could genuinely change my opinion on this film.
Brandon, it's going to be a graphic novel, actually. They weren't able to successfully crowdfund Before the Mask, the return of Leslie Vernon. So it's now they're doing their own crowdfunding now for the graphic novel that will kind of serve as the sequel. It never took off. And I have some questions to you guys about that in a bit, but keep going with this. So you don't feel like Leslie is fleshed out enough. And Dave, you're talking about how you feel like Leslie Vernon doesn't necessarily need to be, because Leslie Mancuso, we find out that's who he really is fabricating his legend to build that hype, right?
We only get what we need to know by those newspaper clippings and by the little bit of legend that the story that Leslie himself told. So it's a put on. It's like watching wrestling. A guy's a wrestler. His real name is Terry Bollea. His wrestling name is Hulk Hogan. So you get Hulk Hogan's history. You don't need to know about Terry Bollea's history on the show. It's the same thing. This is a guy playing somebody else. So you don't need to know. And I'll say this: the first two acts are brilliant, and this is for horror movie fans, and that's what's brilliant about it, is that we get it. I'm going to differ from Christian and Brandon. I'm not blowing the movie. I'm not going to pull a Watson, but I will say this: when the third act comes, there was really nowhere else for them to go. You may not be thrilled with the direction they take, but because the first two acts were so brilliant, you get to the point of, okay, this is the night. I don't think there's anywhere else to go with the film. And again, I'm being premature in that, but I think the first two acts are bloody brilliant. I think it speaks to us.
I'm not just
I
like the first two acts. I think the third act actually sinks the movie.
Well,
exactly.
And
I don't want to jump the gun.
Strong word. Sinks is a strong word because my overall rating of it is not going to make it sound like I'm coming in like below a 5 or anything ridiculous like that. I'm just saying that it almost contradicts the whole kind of structure and setup that we go with at the beginning of the film. Yes, we have found footage elements of the film. Yes, there are moments where we go into the real world. How the film starts is what we're talking about earlier. That's real world. Yes, they are filming what we, unbeknownst to us at this moment, they're filming that moment, but that's not their footage. We're looking at it as if we're watching a film or whatever at that moment in time. And that movie does jump back and forth between found footage and sort of real world throughout the movie. It's just having the whole final act in the real world doesn't work. You're right. Where do they go with it? But I think
what else could they do? Right. That's. If you're writing it.
No. Here's the big issue for ultimately where the twist goes, and I actually really like the twist in the third act, the big revelation. Mm-hmm. But however, there's just not enough in the first two acts between two specific characters. Not enough for me to ultimately care. They have a little conversation at one point that gets really deep and almost philosophical, and she actually starts like quoting Nietzsche, and it's very and he's being very sympathetic. He's almost like rooting against himself. He's almost looking for like some sort of catharsis. Like,
isn't that what it's all about, though? Isn't that about the we'll just put it in kind of a loose terms here, the survivor girl empowering herself through his demasculation? Isn't that what it kind of requires?
Exactly.
And you didn't like that?
No, I love that. I just felt there wasn't enough of a setup in the first 2 acts, even though the first 2 acts are great in terms of the comedy aspect. So it wasn't enough of the two main characters.
So you didn't like the chemistry between them, because Leslie himself, when they're parked outside the high school and he's doing that kind of test run showing them how he picks his target group.
Yeah.
He just says he likes the idea of the survivor girl. And for him, I mean, and trust me, when we kick into spoilers, I have some stuff to say about your guys' take on the film. And I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, just another interpretation. But he likes that idea. And it sort of allows for that distance, at least to me. The chemistry, like there's no chemistry when you like the idea of someone. That's not love. You know, when people talk about love at first sight, all that is you projecting onto them your idea of what they should be. And so that's distance. That's the definition of distance to me. But I get it if you don't feel like the actors in question had chemistry. I guess that could be up in the air.
I don't even think it was an actor thing. Maybe so much as just a development of story. Maybe even a little bit of backstory when the big reveal is thrown.
I think when the big reveal is thrown, I just feel like it's forced.
It felt forced because you kind of don't see it coming, because you don't pick up on what's actually going on.
And I think we're all talking in metaphor. Like, I'm surprised we're doing a non-spoiler. I thought because
we're not.
10
we're
years
not.
old.
It's old.
We are doing a spoiler? Okay. So
wait, when do we jump into spoilers? When do we jump into spoilers?
Because you could do it whenever you want, Mr. Watt.
You could do it now. It's an old movie. Yeah.
Okay, well, can I ask a question first? Because there is something I did want to ask you guys. It was something I prepared beforehand, because I was just thinking about this very last time I watched it. And then I want to talk about the perspective of the movie, you know, it's jumping perspective, because I feel like you guys said your piece on it. Well, maybe Dave didn't as much. But, okay, the question I have, you guys, is... So for me, at least, as someone who loves this movie, there's a tragedy that surrounds this film in my eyes. And it's the idea that, okay, it's been 10 years since this release. And I can hear some people going, no, it's 2006, but it got its legit release in 2007, homies. But it's been 10 years since its release. We've gotten no sequel. It's never picked up, never successfully funded, you know, the sequel. And so now it's only able to come out in graphic novel form, like I said. So my big question to you guys, and I wish I should have prepared you guys for this, but it has to do with the big franchises that we all know and love. So back when those came out in the 80s, theatrically released horror was at its most commercially viable. That's why you could have like 20,000 sequels to these movies, no matter how good they were, and they'd all get into theaters and do all right. But my question is, okay, so let's say that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 74, Halloween 78, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street 84, Hellraiser, let's say each and every one of those films was a one-off, just a one and done. And this is going to be a difficult mind exercise, but do you think that Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, Pinhead, all those guys, do you think they would be the iconic, larger-than-life characters that they are now if they'd only had one movie to their credit as opposed to all the sequels? Like, did the key to their everlasting success lie in those sequels? Like, what do you guys think about that? Because this was a one and done, and so I kind of want to know what you guys think about that.
I think you're right. I think
the
sequels. Well, in the case of Friday the 13th, Jason was just a drowned kid.
True.
No, I think the sequels made him the icon. The first movie is a classic. The sequels made him the icon. Jason became an icon in part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Jason was all story structure aside and the silliness of it and whatever, because we know they were made for money and whatnot, not necessarily to make sense. But the icon came 3 films in and then took off with the hockey mask. And so, yeah, I guess my short answer, instead of rambling on here, is the sequels gave them their iconic status.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that when you make a film, you gotta at least in this case, you gotta at least think to yourself, we might just be a one and done. So you have to give us enough of the characters that we care, that we know, that we want to know more.
And you didn't feel that. You didn't feel that? Because
I did
but
too. I did, but I also feel like that's my issue with the film, is like it didn't give us enough of what I wanted. But it probably would have in, part 2, part 3, part 4. Sure. It would have been a great franchise.
Know. See, I think they would have jumped the shark. I think I don't want to know more. I like it that it's like, okay, Michael Myers would not have become what he became if not for the sequels. We can all agree on that. But if Halloween 1 ended, Halloween 78, the movie ends, that's it. Michael's missing. It would not have impacted that movie. It would have been, if it's possible to make that movie better, it might have made it better. But that's what I'm saying. That's what makes this movie great. I don't want to know. I don't need to know. I get everything I need in this movie. And I think it would have jumped the shark if they would have gone. It would have been more hokey. Like, I don't consider even this comedy. I mean, it's kind of comedy.
Yeah, me neither.
It's nice. A wink and a nudge for horror fans like us. But let me show this movie to my mother. She probably wouldn't get any of the jokes. She'd just be like, well, this is a weird movie. That'd be her reaction. This is a movie for us, even more so than Cabin in the Woods and Scream and even The Final Girls, because they play on slashers. I think that this speaks more directly with tropes that us slasher fans are familiar with. And that's why I love it. And, right?
Yeah. Same here. Well, I think it's hands down the smartest deconstruction of the genre of the slasher subgenre we've seen on film. Scream was just self-referential, and eventually, as much as I love that film to death, it sort of became what it was parodying or satirizing. But freaking like this didn't, and I'm going to explain why in a bit, why I think it didn't. But yeah, this is full-fledged psychological deconstruction. Doesn't mean you got to like it, but from where I come from as a viewer, I'm completely down with that. And I know you talk about the sequel, maybe jumping the shark. I think that's what they were planning with Before the Mask, The Return of Leslie Vernon. It's in the title. It's a remake, a sequel, and a prequel. And they were talking about gore because, if you notice, there wasn't a lot of gore in this film. And that's because they deliberately were saying like, hey, listen, we wanted this to be like Halloween. So that way we have room to exploit over-the-top gore as we deconstruct sequels psychologically. And so they were planning to sort of psychologically jump the shark, hopefully in a tasteful way. Who knows how it would have gone down. But like, I asked that question earlier about, and Dave, great answers all around, everybody. And I can't disagree with any one of those. But for me, it's the tragedy behind this film, because this movie for me is the ultimate example of what would have happened if Halloween had never gotten that sequel, which, it is a good and bad thing. It would have been, they dig it, they'd respect it. It would attain cult status, sort of like Billy in Black Christmas, but not legendary status. And that's why this movie is such like a beautiful shame to me. It's a story creating a new legend, and for all intents and purposes, the ultimate meta FU is that it didn't create the legend. And it's like throwing a lit match on gasoline, right? And seeing nothing happen. You know what's supposed to happen. The flame meets the fumes and it ignites, but it didn't go down like that. And all you could do is ask why not. And so I don't know. In that way, this is like that ultimate hidden gem for me. Maybe that's part of my appreciation for it, why I blow it like I do. But yeah, I don't know. Like, gosh, great points, guys. Like, man.
My question is this, though, and I think I'm coming from like, I'm not disagreeing with the script. I actually do think, fuck, this is an intelligent script. My problem is in the decision to switch it from primarily found footage documentary style to a movie for the final act. Now, if you could tell me the argument in that is part of the deconstruction and sell me on that, then I'm all aboard. But I didn't notice it, and I blew this. I kind of blew this movie the first. It wasn't a 10 out of 10, but I watched this twice when it first came out, and I really loved it. And I think I brought up in the show that I really loved it. I'm like, oh, what about this? We haven't talked about this one. I think that's a great film. And I even looked back at my old rating, and it was really high. And so I couldn't wait to see it again for this show. And I admittedly was really disappointed. I texted these guys. Sure. I'm like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm actually pissed off at the movie. The movie's pissing me off as it's progressing, as opposed to entertaining me.
That's awesome.
And me not getting something out of it. But again, I'm rambling, as I usually do. Are you saying that there's something in that the way that they're telling the story for the transition to go from found footage, documentary style, to movie style?
Yes. Do we want to get in that? Because I had some other things in my notes about the horror movie references that this makes, because there's a lot you can find on the B, but there's a lot I read in some other interviews. Do you want to go straight into how like perspective plays into the deconstruction? Do you guys want to do that now?
Oh, we can lead up to it. I'm totally cool to hear some.
Okay.
Let's find the Easter eggs.
Cool. So I've got some Easter eggs here. So basically, some of these were ones I noticed myself, and the rest I got from an interview with Scott Glosserman, who directed, and David J. Steve, who wrote the script. And these guys, look, Steve David J. Steve, the writer, was the deputy editor for the Madison Review, which is a nationally renowned literary journal out of Wisconsin. That's big time stuff. And Glosserman, and Dave, you'll dig this. He wrote his senior thesis in college on The Shining 1980 and the conventions of horror.
The Shining.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say The Shining because of the Easter eggs.
Yep. So
Wow.
just knowing that such intelligent dudes were behind this film, that makes me love it all the more. So, okay, here's a list of some horror references I've got. So first, and some of these will be apparent and some of them will be like, what? So Kane Hodder, like the first one, Kane Hodder, Jason Voorhees walking into the Elm Street house, double whammy, right?
Yeah.
So Taylor Gentry, that's our main protagonist, our main lady. She's standing just outside the Rabbit and Red Lounge, as mentioned in Halloween, right at the beginning. Did you guys catch that one?
Yep.
Yeah. We got twin girls jumping rope, all Elm Street style. We've got Leslie's Turtles, Church and Zoe, our reference to Pet Sematary. When we first meet Leslie's mentor, Eugene, there is a lament configuration puzzle box sitting on a table in the background.
Fuck, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and even
wow.
Yeah, and even when they first get there to their house, you can see a car that's the same make and model as Ash's car from The Evil Dead.
Yeah, I think I got that.
That
one.
I caught.
I remember that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I caught.
Yeah.
But not
And
the
then-
lament configuration.
No.
Didn't
Yeah,
you?
that one-
The Pet
Yeah.
Cemetery references or whatever it was. Eugene.
Yeah, he said his turtles were Church and Zoe says, I only keep pets that I
can eat.
Can eat.
He's like, these
Right.
little bastards don't die. But so Mrs. Collingwood, the librarian, is played by Zelda Rubinstein, who we all know from Poltergeist, her last movie, by the way. But her name in the movie, Collingwood, is a direct reference to the Collingwoods in The Last House on the Left.
Oh.
Next up, part of Leslie Vernon's backstory, or his prior evil, has to do with him being thrown off of Nellis Falls, where he plunges to his death. That's his fake story. Well, that name, Nellis Falls, is a reference to the Nellis Air Force Base in The Hills Have Eyes. Now, check this out, Dave. You're going to like this. The librarian, Mrs. Collingwood, is wearing yellow in the movie, and in The Shining, Kubrick used the color yellow to coincide with the Native American idea that yellow is the color of sacrifice, because Leslie is planning to kill her first to prove to his survivor girl that he's what's up. But we all know how that goes. Well, so that's one there. So that they went that deep. The writer or director, one of them said, yeah, that's why she's dressed in yellow, for that reason, as an offering. While Leslie is applying his makeup in one of the interview scenes, the music from the end of The Shining is playing in the background. Yep. I knew you'd catch that. And there is some no-dos from Elm Street on his tabletop, or whatever that was. What was that medicine? Was it called no-dos?
The real one was called No Dose, but I think they were called Stay Awake in that street one.
Yeah, It was one of those. Yeah, I think it was the Stay Awake one. And so in the same scene, you can see little toy blocks in the background. Now, I noticed this one on my last time watching. That spell, they're like these little toy blocks like a kid would play with, and they spell red rum in the background. Then it cuts back like a second later to those same blocks, and they spell murder. So, and of course, Leslie's real first name is last name is Mancuso, after, we all know Frank Mancuso Jr., Mr. Producer himself. Yeah. And of course, the presence of Robert Englund in this movie is awesome, since his character Freddy Krueger exists in the world of the film. But the fact that he's emulating Dr. Loomis from Halloween is awesome. But even his name in the film, Doc Halloran, is a blend of Danny's nickname from The Shining and, of course, Dick Halloran. So,
yeah,
and then.
So cool.
Yeah, and then the last one, I think this one was a fail on my part because I looked it up right before we started recording, because I thought that Angela Goethals, the main girl who plays Taylor Gentry, I thought her whole look was a throwback to Amy Steele, like especially when she's in the sweater. But I guess someone actually asked Scott Glosserman, the director, about that, and he's like, no. And I was like, oh, dang it. I thought I was being smart. And I wasn't.
You would have. Yeah, but great try, because you come to the right place to freaking blow our minds about Jimmy.
Right. I know. I tried. I was thinking that when I came here, and I was like, I'm gonna go on their minds, but nope. So okay, were there any other points before we can talk a little bit about the perspective changes? Do you guys want to say anything else, or?
No, I just want to tell you what I think are some of the great things about this movie. I think that his performance is incredible. It's a shame that the guy doesn't act much, because he doesn't. Yeah. I don't know if he's in the artist.
He's a producer, right?
Okay, he's something like that. So he's still around, keeps busy, but he's. It's a shame, because I thought he does such a great job. The whole thing about finding the Ahab and all that stuff.
There's brilliant stuff
Dude.
in it. There's just not
Yeah.
enough development amongst the characters that there needs to be development with. Leslie, Taylor, and Doc Halloran. Those are your three characters you need to focus on, and we spend too much time on Kelly Curtis.
See, I don't need more. I'm fine with what we got with those characters.
I need more.
Oh, man, same. I don't need
Easter
more.
egg, less comedy, more development, more conversations like the one they have later, so it doesn't feel forced. That conversation felt forced.
What
When
conversation?
the conversation he has with Taylor later on, where he says it's not about Doc Halloran. He says my fate, my longevity depend on what she does, meaning the final girl. And then she says, "Yet you're trying to kill her," and he's like, "That's the paradox of what I do. You love
Isn't
her."
it though? Isn't it though?
It is. It is. It's brilliant stuff, but it's felt so forced because it was just a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of comedy. And I mean, kudos for all those. I didn't notice 40% of those, maybe even more. But I'm always more interested in the characters, and they only began to scratch the surface, especially about the characters I cared about.
Okay.
But that's not a bad thing. The fact
fair
that I want so much more is a good thing. I'm not just coming here and saying, "Oh, this is a turd. I hated it." I'm just saying it had there's so much there. I want more.
I wanted it to be scary because even when it switched into the last act where it's supposed to soup it up and get, be the final chase and pretty much deliver the goods, I found it just went so quick over that. And maybe because it's now a slasher film, and I hear you with the whole idea that they wanted to do the Halloween perspective here and keep it like goreless. I think they really need to soup it up at the end. So I didn't find it scary. Didn't really find it atmospheric. I was really annoyed at this point. So maybe that really did play heavily into my thought process at the time. And so then it just ended, and I was just like, wow, that was a huge letdown.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's such a shame though, because Leslie is such a great character. He really is a great character, and I want so much more from this character. Maybe it comes in that graphic novel, whatever it may be, because there's so much there. He's such a charismatic guy, and I really love everything he does and the way he sets it up. And so when you see the end credit scene, you're like, normally you'd be like, what the fuck, get out of here. No, but if you're paying attention to everything he's talking about and saying, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I just had fun with it. When they talked about the sacred closet and they talked about, how he's sabotaging the weapons so they can only be worth once, and don't they smash them out? He was asking about the windows in the front, and he's like,
yeah, they only smash on the second floor.
Just
and by
all
then
that talk. Dude, it's brilliant. I don't understand. I do understand why maybe the third act disappointed you, but it has me as well. This is the third time I've seen this, but this time I said to myself as I'm watching it, I want to think, where else could this go? And if I was writing, where else could I take it? And since this whole movie was all about this night and the one night that it's going to take place, they have to show it in the film. It's the main event of sex. We're getting freaking foreplay for 2 acts. So it's going to come down. We're going to have to see what's going to go on in the main event. That's what's supposed to happen. And I'm thinking, yes, for some reason I feel the same way you guys do, but I also can't think of another place it could go. If you could give me an alternative, then I can say, okay, well, that might have been better.
It's not even that it has to go someplace else. It's like Christian says, though, it plays out way too quickly, especially when we're building up for Leslie and Taylor ultimately. It just plays out way too quick.
It's like exposition, and maybe that's what they meant. Like, oh, we got to go here. Okay, that's gonna happen. Then we're gonna go there. And I know that they're trying to chess game the scenario and see what's happened, and then he kind of is playing with them, but there's still something lost in the translation. Sorry.
Yes, it's clunky. It's clunky the way it works out ultimately. That's what it is. Unfortunately, because it does happen all of a sudden, and you're there, and they do give you a swerve, and it was an interesting swerve, and kudos to them for writing that the way they did it and what actually transpired. But I hear what you're saying, but overall, it's clunky.
So I didn't research. I didn't go into the research, and this is what I think Mr. Watson's going to get into, because either in my opinion, right now, until I hear his viewpoints on this, because he said he had a rebuttal for me, they needed to still engage with the mockumentary style throughout, or the first 2 acts of the film should have played around and had the documentary part of the movie, but still played within the real world. Like, it could have been a movie about them making a documentary, which it ultimately is, but we're not seeing it through the eyes of the documentary, more or less. Now, I feel like Mr. Watson's going to say, no, Christian, that's the whole point.
No.
They needed that setup to then switch it, and now you're going to tell me why. What am I missing? Because that was frustrating to me.
Incidentally, your complaint about the film, and it is a lot of people's complaints. It really is. Is this complaint, though, happens to be what elevates the film for me. And this is maybe, I don't know who else sees it like this, but this is how I see it, and hopefully this translates. I haven't gotten this from an interview from IB Not DB, IB the Witch of the Woods. This is where I come from, so check it out. So a lot of people do seem to, from my viewing perspective, to miss the weight and importance of how perspective is used in this film. So as the story progresses, okay, so we're talking perspective now. We are following our reporter and our camera crew as they document the potential rise of the next great serial killer, Leslie Vernon. Okay, that's the plot. These scenes are filmed in the first-person perspective, which is important when you consider the roles of the reporter and the camera crew. See, you guys, the first-person perspective, that POV implies voyeurism. It implies that we as viewers are not only watching, but are actively taking part in what's going on. So our documentary crew is in that very same boat. They go from watching to actively helping Leslie Vernon in his preparations. He gives them the choice to go, and they don't. They aren't just spectators. They become complicit in his schemes. But listen, you guys, this is more than schemes to Leslie. This is a religious ritual for Leslie. And, once the twist hits, even a courting or dating ritual, if you really think about it. And all rituals, every single one, requires setup and preparation. Now, that said, every time we're in the first-person point of view, we are prepping for that ritual. We're seeing behind the mask, seeing what it requires of him to be the great thing he wants to become. Now, as he walks us through his plans, shows us his inner workings, that's the first-person look that we get into to see what he's about. Now, like we've mentioned, there are only 3 times when the film goes from first-person and appears to be a traditional movie. The opening scene's the example of this, the scene at the library when Leslie makes his first real appearance to his survivor girl, and then the whole scene at the very end. So each time, you guys, that the film switches perspectives like this, we are no longer in the world of ritual preparation, and we're seeing the ritual itself take place every single time. Go back and watch for it. So when people talk about how the film maybe starts off strong, then descends into the very thing it's deconstructing, I can see that point, but I can't fully agree with that, because you can't have these scenes play out in the first person. That perspective is limited. It's the perspective of voyeurism and being an accomplice. No, when we exit that first person view, we're entering the omniscient, all-knowing third-person perspective, the godlike perspective. And there's no better POV to take in order to see Leslie's ritualistic plans unfold exactly like he said they would. And the cherry on top, you guys, is that there's no better way to, what would be the words, to bear witness to what it really means when you root for the killer. That's what these slasher films are about, right? Rooting for the killer. Don't we love to see Jason or Michael Myers get that body count going. Well, what if you were the one actually helping him set up the conditions required for him to succeed in killing the people he's targeted? I think this film needed to switch perspectives to show us what it means when you take the killer's side. And it shows us in all its glory exactly what the completion of Leslie's ritual looks like. That to me is why that you need that omniscient, all-knowing third-person perspective. That's what elevates this film to me. If it had been first person the whole time, limited voyeurism. Third person, bam, we are in godlike, all-knowing status to see the ritual take place. And what do you do rituals to? God. He's doing it for us. We're part of the deconstruction. That's why this movie rates so high for me. So yeah.
No, and I hate to derail you there, because
Sure.
You just pulled you just fucking wadded us. That's exactly what we get when we listen to your episode. No, when we listen to your show,
right?
And that's what I wanted, and I loved it. I will hold off my final judgment for like a total rescore until I rewatch it. But you sold me on it, and if I summarize and just tell me if I like if this is what you're like, ultimately their arc. And then from the transition into traditional movie story is when they switch from holy shit, we're kind of helping them, where the voyeur to holy shit, we've got to fucking stop him.
Yes, this is what our actions led to.
Yeah.
First person view, we are helping.
Yeah.
Third person view, here is the fruits of your labor. Here is the ritual, because this is religious to Leslie Vernon. This is the making of his legend.
Yeah.
And when we see it from a third person perspective, and every time it switches, the beginning scene is part of his ritual. That middle scene in the library, part of his ritual. The end, his ritual brought to completion exactly like he said. And I can see if somebody were like, well, isn't it kind of boring when everything goes exactly like he said? Okay, good argument. But it didn't go exactly like he said because there were some twists, but still, okay, not a bad argument. Not bad at all. Actually, I love separate
But
arguments.
I thought it did go exactly as he
But
planned,
didn't it?
because he planned for the twists all along.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, fair enough. So shoot, I was even trying to play a little devil's advocate, but you just argued my point.
Wow.
No,
I know,
I mean,
right? You guys both blew my mind just now.
But that's just how I see it, you guys. That's just how I see it because watch the film one more time, you guys, and tell me that every time it's in third person that it's not the ritual being performed, not prep. Screw prep. Prep is first person. And just view it like that. That's how I first saw it. That's why it's so high to me. And that's, I guess that's all I got. That's me.
You blew your load and
Yeah.
and no, and it was awesome. Like Brandon is fucking gagging, like he's just.
No,
he
I just still.
No, I agree with both sides here. I
I
completely.
just still have
get
an
it.
issue with the important characters being a little too underdeveloped. I'm not going to say one note, just underdeveloped.
I think we're seeing
Yeah, that-
Not
Donald
Leslie.
the Donald
so much.
Pleasance character, the Robert Englund. I think we're seeing it from the perspective of what if we weren't following him like Donald Pleasance, but we're on the killer's side of it, where Donald Pleasance just sort of pops in and like, I shot him 6 times.
Oh,
Okay,
exactly.
so
Exactly.
We're catching that.
But don't make such a big deal that we have an Ahab then. It was such a pivotal moment. I mean, they were
Well, that's
celebrating
true,
it.
too.
That was part of his ritual, though. That was part of what his ritual was attaining. The Ahab, the what an Ahab is it goes back to Herman Melville's freaking Moby Dick. You get an Ahab, you're the white whale that he can never catch, and he will try like Loomis did over all those movies and never succeed. And he'll go down with the ship because that's what an Ahab does. His whole ritual is now like spread across a franchise if they could allow it, but. I don't know. I mean, that's what it was for me. And I'm not trying to make this grandiose, homies. I just that's my viewing experience when I look at this. So
No, this is what
I
this
don't
is
know.
all about. This is great. I really.
Yeah.
No, you sold me on the breakdown, but I'm gonna, like I said.
yeah,
I'm
give
gonna
it one
wait.
more watch.
Yeah.
Give it one more watch and just watch what the third person's doing. Watch what the first person's doing. If you can point out to me like, oh man, no, I don't feel like third person's the ritual itself. I don't feel like the first person is the prep for the ritual. Then that's cool too. That's just how I see it. I don't know anybody else who sees it like that. I've never talked with anybody about it. It's just you guys are my first. All at the same time. Clickety clackety.
Okay. Oh, clickety clackety. You know what? So in a way, it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods, but not as obvious.
Well, I feel like Cabin in the Woods, and I'm not going to get into this too much, but stood on the shoulders of Scream and Rise of Leslie Vernon to say, how can I do something that's smart like Leslie Vernon, but commercially viable like Scream? And they took a really smart middle-of-the-road approach. I love that movie too, but whatever. That's, yeah.
But still, the whole third-person thing, and the way you were, explaining this movie,
Oh, the
that can
ritual.
it can be applied to Cabin in the Woods, except Cabin in the Woods, they show you their hand right off the bat.
Yeah, sure.
It's, you know what I mean? But there is third person viewing in that, and then second, the same type of thing here, but this way, the way they did it in this movie, I think is the better way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. I
can
like
see
it. I don't
Brandon's
know
not
if
total agreement, but
No, I'm just very confused with the whole point of views again.
you're hung
I'm-
up on the
I'm-
characters.
Yeah.
No, I got my things with the characters, but I'm thinking back to the movie now. I'm just trying to think of the movie and the perspectives, the point of views and stuff.
Yeah, and it only switches like 3 times. The beginning, the library scene. There's a little bit of sort of Mission Impossible third-person perspective when he's telling her his plan, but don't count that. That's just probably in the mind. But then the end. So it only switches 3 times, and each time it's the ritual. all the first person is the prep. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I could be. I don't like to rewatch movies. I've probably only seen this like 5 or 6 times. And this was the only time where I've really looked at it with an super analytical eye anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I think your arguments for the characters are sound. No one can argue that. It's perspective, and that's what's up, man. So
Right
yeah,
on.
gangsters. So what
Shit.
we got? We talking ratings?
Oh yeah,
I think unless someone has something else to add.
boys. Okay, I think I'm back.
Did
Sorry,
you
my
leave?
sound levels were fucked. No, I mean all of a sudden I was talking the same way, doing everything the same way. It's really low, but now I'm back in action.
Oh, jeez.
You can't believe how much cardio I have to do.
do.
I know you guys are saying it's not comedy, but there's so many great funny lines in this.
Oh, when they're like Eugene. Oh, and I didn't say this in the whole production facts thing in the references. Eugene, played by Scott Glenn, his mentor. They
Wilson.
came out with thank you, Scott Wilson.
Right.
They came out last year and said that he was intended to be Billy from Black Christmas.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
It was on
Did you
your show
read
that you
that?
mentioned that. Did you talk about that on your show?
No, but I shared it on my page.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
want those. Now I want more films because
No,
that.
right?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was
great-
supposed to
yeah.
be, but they couldn't swing it, and so it's just in the mind of the filmmakers. His
Yeah.
mentor is Billy from Black Christmas, talking about, back then we were one-offs. Back then we were. Well, what's funny too is so is Leslie Vernon,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
the ultimate meta fu.
Wow. Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I do have a complaint about the third act, and not what anything we've addressed before. How often does the girl go after the killer when she can already have escaped? Did you notice in this movie that the girl could have escaped? She had an out, and she decides to turn around and fucking hightail back to the thing?
Well, I think that's what I was getting at too. That's what kind of pissed me off. Her arc, but I guess he was prepping her the whole time through. I just didn't think it was enough prep for her to have the genie moment at the end. So I think she said, I'm the one that has to defeat him. But you're right. She could have escaped. Are you talking about she could have just hightailed it out of there? But no, she had to kill him.
That's what Scott Wilson said too. He says, "You run. Don't try to fight us. Don't look back.
Right.
You won't like what you see." But she did exactly. What's funny is it's like a dual victory because she did everything Leslie said she'd do, and he won by predicting it, and she won by who knows? In the second movie, they're probably going to be dating.
You would think. Yeah.
Oh well, that's
Try
the
to pull
point. It's the courting ritual, you guys. It's part of his ritual, and that's what. Didn't you get that sense from when we go to Scott Wilson and Eugene and his lady Jamie? I think was her name, which to throw back to Jamie Lee Curtis. Like it was all about.
Yeah, maybe she was the final girl type thing.
No, she was.
Yeah,
Watch it again.
she makes that line that she ran
Right.
faster than everyone else or something, or she.
Yep. And I like how they're like, Jinx, you owe me a soda.
Yeah.
I lost it. I spit my beer out of my face.
I liked when he chopped the carrots.
Oh, brrr.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, now I'm intrigued to watch again. So that's good.
Right on. I'm glad I love it when other people's perspectives, can provide some light or some just give it another chance. I don't know. That's cool.
Okay,
I'm
well
glad-
now I've got a challenge for you. Watch Possession and sell me on watching that movie again.
You know what? I've never seen. I just listened to that episode with you guys. Actually, I just listened to the 81 before we did this, and I've never seen Possession. So
I really want you to see. Now it's been given the golden handshake of art, but my God, do you have to endure a lot of fucking craziness to get to that art?
okay, I'll write into the show like next episode and maybe give a short little review of Possession or something, something like that to see, like, because I know all your takes on it, and I just listened to that episode like 2 days ago. So yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Listen.
I got a challenge for you. Watch Voodoo again.
Okay, well, no. Here's the thing. I'm actually listen, you guys. I'm
fucking
actually
Halloween
not that.
show.
I'm not that far from where you guys said. I just said on the show that was Tom Custable's, the director's, intention to do that ending that way, and you can either hang with it or you did. I never said what I thought. I just thought it was daring to do a last act that's 40 minutes long. I never said if I thought it was hokey or not, because I do think it is. But a 6.5 for me is, or a 6 or 6.5, whatever I gave it. We're not that far off, man. I just don't dislike it. I just think it's pretty good. A little more positive than not. That's all.
I'm happy for you. I just okay.
Yeah.
Dave Z,
Yeah.
you
You're a better man
I
than I
wanted to
am.
be a smart ass. Hey, what are you gonna do? You know?
Oh man.
Let's rate this movie. Can we rate this movie?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you. Okay.
You are all gonna hear that at some point in this episode.
Okay, I'll tell you. 7.5. That's my rating.
What? You've been blowing it the whole night and you give it 7.5?
I'm actually surprised.
I said,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I said the
Yeah,
first two acts
you-
were brilliant.
you
I'm not
kinda
crazy
blew it.
about the third act, but I didn't. They set themselves up to fall. There was nothing they could do that was gonna wow me, but they did the best they could. But it didn't mean that it wowed me. I just said I couldn't find another place for them to go, so I still enjoy it, but only to a 7.5 level.
Okay, well then this is going to be fucking ridiculous. Okay, so I remember I had this up at a 9 before I even, like, from my first two views.
wow.
I love this. Like, I remember really loving this movie. So that's why I was like, I can't wait to see this again because it's been years. So I was looking forward to it, and I was disappointed, but I still really enjoyed the first two acts. So I came in at a 7.
Oh,
But
man.
the reason is because I was like, where's that 9 that I was expecting? So that's the thought process there. If you're wondering, well, you make it sound like you're going to give it like a 6 or whatever. No, I really enjoyed it, but then that last act just lost me. But now I'm very intrigued to go back. As I said, broken record, but I will go back and see it. Right now it's a 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same as it was the first time I watched it. I will watch it again, but it's a 6.5 for me.
Nice. Hey, no, that's awesome, you guys. It's it's gonna be pretty interesting when I tell you all my double-digit score for this gangster. But like I'm saying, man, this movie takes apart the slasher film in such a way that it never talks down to its audience. It's not making fun of the genre. It's celebrating it. It's a loving, an expose that shows us what a slasher killer would have to do to become great. The humor is intelligently handled. Leslie's charisma, dedication to the craft, religious ritual, perspectives, blah, 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 plot twists, these things. For me, you guys, because of kind of where I come from, I got no bones calling this a solid 10, homies.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
No decimals.
No decimals. We're not going to get 2 Watson on it.
No, I actually, for me, I love when we get so deep on these films, when we talk about films like February or,
Oh, you guys rocked it.
or Neon Demon, when we just films that are filled with depth. And you talked about this film with that type of passion that I love to talk about those other films with. And I want to have that passion you do. So, I mean, for that reason alone and for the fact, of all the excellent things you guys have all said, all three of you, I'm going to definitely give this more viewings. This was only a second view for me. The first time I watched it was probably shortly after it came out. So it had been probably 8-9 years since I saw it.
And I remember you giving me a reaction like you're like, when we brought it up in a previous show. So I was like, I kind of knew you weren't high on it, but no, I was like up there, man. Like I said, I had it like figuring it was around a 9. I remember recommending it to people at the time. So I was surprised, but now your deconstruction of it, Mr. Watson,
Oh, thank you.
I'm really, really intrigued to rewatch it right away, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, shoot. Yeah, thanks, guys. Crap.
Now get the fuck off our show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, see ya. You guys got wrecked. You guys got wrecked in the 2007 talk. I'll email in my lists.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Don't outsmart us. We used to think we were intelligent. What the fuck? What were we thinking?
Oh, you guys are awesome. What the
You
hell?
weren't.
Number
this
one.
is great, man. This is great.
We've never used the word meta before.
Oh, okay.
Except Brandon met a lot of men the other night at a bathhouse.
Bathhouse.
What an asshole.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Very good.
I'm gonna die.
All right. Let's talk about 2007, shall we?
No.
Yes. No. Never mind.
2007. Let's get into this thing. Why we're here? What's going on? And now, for us, this started back when we did our top 10 show. Not our top 10 show. When we did our show number 10, which was the top 40. And we went through every year. And all I did every year was go on it, type in the words horror movies from that year, look at them. We discuss a few movies, and we pick our favorites from that year. We noticed that when we got to 2007, that there was just title after title after title, and we were just kind of marveling for this time period, saying, wow, 2007, what a damn good year, and we didn't even realize it, you know? So that was the one thing that stood out in the 2000s. I mean, the 80s were the 80s and what have you.
Oh, yeah.
And isn't that where it began, right, when we did that show, and we were excited about that year? And then
My top 3 got bumped off the list.
oh, well, we're going to get to that.
My top 5 got bumped off the list, and I had to add 5 others.
Yeah.
Well, that's the trick. You see, when we did it, we all pretty much did the same thing. We Googled it or we went to whatever we did. But all these movies came up. Now, every one of these movies was filmed in 2007. That's what, hence the label 2007. However, if you listen to our shows, when we do the year-end shows, you know, especially for the last 2 years, we don't count movies that were filmed a different year. A movie was filmed in 2014, but we didn't see it till 2016, so it's a 2016 movie.
Dave, I gotta interrupt only because I think it makes sense. It doesn't necessarily mean it was filmed that year. It could have been filmed the previous year, but like it could have been filmed in 2006, but the release might have been like a film festival in 2007, but it didn't
like
get
Leslie
wide
Vernon.
release.
Yep, like Leslie.
True.
Vernon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, just a little detour.
No, thank you.
It's a little interruption to tell you you're wrong.
That's good, though. I need that here. Because I forgot to say that. But it's like, yeah, it's listed as 2007. So we just basically, we were making a science of it. We were going down the list, looking at the movies. Okay, Frontiers, The Reaping, Alien vs. Predator, B2. Looking at all these movies that come up and saying, okay, this was my favorite. And then we bullshitted about a couple movies. And we had a lot of fun on that show. And, we weren't taking it that seriously for those years because who thinks about it? Now, the newer years, that's when we take it seriously. In retrospect, a lot of these movies that show up here really aren't 2007. They're listed as 2007, but some came out in later years. Then, of course, there's some that were filmed in 2006 that if you look on the B or on Wikipedia, they were filmed 2006. They weren't wide released until 2007 in North America. And that's what we go on. Now, both movies we're talking about tonight actually didn't even what was it? They were filmed. Rec was filmed in 2007. Came out in its homeland, but didn't come out in North America until 2008. And Leslie Vernon, if you look on the B, says 2006, but we know that it was wide release 2007. So there's a lot of that going on. They just happen to fall into this year. And why nitpick? We're just trying to come correct on the show. Now, let's get over to transition to Watson here. He has talked several times on his show and online about how 2007 is his favorite year, and he has a lot of movies from that year. So. Yeah. Let me hear. What do you have to say about this, Watson?
Okay, well, I was born in 1984, 32, and a very peculiar thing happened to horror fans of about my age. So my experience was that I grew up watching them 80s horror movies, right? Not as they came out, though. I'd catch them in the 90s, and even then, they weren't my movies. You guys know what I mean? Like, they were my parents' horror movies. But the movies that were coming out in the 90s, they didn't really hold a candle to those 80s hits. We all know this, but what happened was that people my age or so, like we weren't in on the 80s horror paradigm. We missed it, but the 90s paradigm didn't have much to offer, no identity to it, and it didn't really get an identity until like Scream came out, and even then, that didn't spark the big movement some people think it did. It just sort of gave the late 90s an identity, and then that fell off. So I feel like I personally had to wait for my own current horror paradigm to pop up, and this didn't happen in the 90s. It didn't even really happen in the early O's because so much changed with technology. The 90s had just gotten its identity. It's like, wait, what the hell? I just showed up to the party finally. But the O's began to slowly form an identity that was different than the short-lived 90s paradigm. So we get our remakes, we get our torture-based films, and then around 2006, you guys, and 2007, I feel like the decade hit its stride and began what I consider to be, and I think Dave does too, what I consider to be my, well, I think Dave might put it second, but my absolute favorite 10-year span in horror. I'm talking, let's say 2007 to 2016. Those 10 years right there have put out some of the most thoughtful, and from my perspective, thoughtful, intelligent, fun, gory, crazy, disturbing, and ultimately brilliant horror films. But the only thing they lack in most people's eyes is that necessary nostalgia. But once this decade gets that, like once these modern classics have had their time, I'm thinking this span of years, beginning with 2007, will go down as my favorite for years to come. And so that's why I think a 2007 show like this here is necessary. I think we all found that there were many films made in 2007, like we said, that didn't officially get released till later. But the fact remains, like Trick or Treat, I can't talk about it because it's 2009. I didn't know that till this show, actually. But the fact remains that this is when the creative juices were flowing in the decade, when the identity started happening. And I have to sort of unofficially, and if I had to sort of, I guess, like unofficially define when I believe today's horror renaissance got its start, because I think, homies, we are, and I'm going to talk about this in my episode that's going to drop soon, that we're in a renaissance of sorts. And I feel like the beginning of that for me, if I had to pin it down, is about 2007. So that's where I land on it, homies.
Well said.
Right on.
And it sucks,
Right on.
man, because, yeah, when we get into our lists, I'm going to talk about 3 that bumped off because of the years. And possibly 4 to be that on.
I actually made
sure.
2 lists of 5. I made 2 lists of 5, an unofficial list and an official list. And
Oh,
even
same
my
here.
official list has one that's
Oh, is it the one we talked about that we
yeah,
sort of...
yeah. And me and Watson are definitely gonna have it on our official list, even though it's right on the border.
Who wants to go?
I
We're doing the
say
top
call
5,
it.
right? We're doing the 5.
Yeah, top 5, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Who
guess we
wants
can
to go
go
first?
official and unofficial. I mean, 2007. The first 5 we're gonna pick are ones that are legitimately, they were legitimately wide release in North America in 2007. That's our first list. Then after that, we could go with all the ones that we're looking at that are 2007.
Nice.
Yeah, and I go first. I'll tell you exactly how I ranked them. Or do we want to let our guest go first? Dave, you're so
go
rude.
first.
Shouldn't we let our guest go first?
I'll go first.
I
Yeah.
know.
I'll go first.
We should.
So at I've got some honorable mentions. I'll read those later because we'll all probably say them. So at number 5, I've got, and I wonder if this is on any of your list. I'm talking Murder Party, Jeremy Saulnier's debut, who did Blue Ruin and Green Room. It's a regular in my Halloween time rotation. At number 4, 30 Days a Night. And I once got drunk at Comic-Con, like really, really trashed. I drank whiskey for 4 because they didn't show up. And I hung out at the co-creator of 30 Days a Night's table. And he was like, "Oh, why aren't you leaving?" I was just like, "Yeah, I can't." And so anyway, that happened. And it was maybe it was the booze talk. I remember him being super handsome. So number 5, Murder Party. Number 4, 30 Days a Night. Number 3, The Mist. Check out Horror Quarter episode 5, baby. Hear what I think about this movie. #love it. Number 2, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Wait, 10 out of 10 getting a number 2? What the hell? Check out Exploding Heads episode 36 to hear what I think of this movie. #oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And number 1, which is the one Brandon and I were debating over, because this did, homies, it did get a limited release right at the end of 2007, and that's The Orphanage 2007. Makes me cry every time I watch it. #sad face. I don't do hashtags,
Wow.
you guys. Like that's a joke for this.
That's fine. How sad is
Okay.
it that I still haven't seen The Orphanage?
Oh, dude, break out the box of tissue. Or wait, no, don't. It's about kids.
Yeah, without parents?
He is for other reasons.
Yeah. So, this movie makes me cry every time. So yeah, Murder Party, 30 Days a Night, The Mist, Behind the Mask, and The Orphanage to top it. So
Wow.
yeah.
Nice, man. You want to do any
get on it.
shout-outs now, or do you want to wait till we all do our lists?
Oh, I'll wait till you guys do it. Trick or Treat would be the number 1 hands down. So I could hear
I
Sal
figured.
talk about Sal.
Yeah, good old Sal.
Dave will go on it for
no.
fucking 2 hours about the fucking thing.
So yeah, I'm done.
We'll mention the movies because they're unofficial. So yeah.
It was made. That's when the creative juices were flowing.
Okay, well, I cheated because I figured if Brandon's going to cheat, then I'm cheating for once.
Go ahead, cheat.
So
How is Brandon cheating?
I don't know if he is, but he has in the past. Yeah.
Until proven innocent.
So what I did was I actually tied my number 5 because, quite frankly, I remember seeing this in the theater, loving it. I've watched it twice since, and my biggest quibble is they all look the fucking same, and it drives me crazy. And it's I Am Legend.
Oh.
Ooh.
I really love that movie, but my biggest thing is that they all look like computer-generated clones of one another, and I just wish they made them different. but there's that movie, and it's tied with Saw 4. That's what it came down to when I actually had to rank these movies.
Hey, that's on another list.
On the ones I had to kick out. And then my number 4 would be Severance. My number 3 was Grindhouse.
What?
Nice.
My number 2 was 28 Weeks Later. And my number 1 was The Mist.
Love them all.
What?
Love them all. Excellent list.
I'm surprised at Severance, but yeah, I mean, it's funny that you should say that because I saw Severance for the first time this past year. And what's another movie that you mentioned, Christian? Say them again, please.
Okay, so I Am Legend and Saw 4 tied for the 5th spot. Severance, Grindhouse, 28 Weeks Later, and then The Mist.
What was tied for the 5? I'm sorry.
Saw 4 and I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. I saw that for the first time this year, and I think I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it blew me away.
Yeah.
I really, I really liked it. I mean, now if I would have thought that was from this year, I might have put it on my list, but I didn't see it come up on my thing, and I didn't. So it's kind of weird though, because my list, much like another list later, there's a clear number 1, and then everything else is
Saw
just kind
4.
of there. Like,
I wonder what your guy's number 1 on that one's gonna be.
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
Yeah. No.
You want to go, Dave, or you want to go?
I'll go. What the hell I'm talking.
All right.
My number 1, I'm just gonna say my number 1 is The Mist. It's definitely the best from the available. Then I have 1, 2, 3, a couple more movies listed. I'm just gonna say what they are: Hostel 2, The Girl Next Door, Grindhouse, and Hatchet.
Love them all.
Hatchet was from this year? No.
It was filmed. It's 06 on the B. It was released in 2007. Yeah.
Fuck,
That
man.
was one of my suggestions if you paid attention in the group chat. No, I'm playing. I'm paying. I'm playing. I don't think I said that.
You're paying?
Yeah.
He's paying.
I'm
everybody.
paying. I'm paying. Everybody drinks
Oh,
on
Wow.
me. Friday tickets.
Any honorable mentions?
Oh, as
wait.
long as I'm looking.
Oh.
Oh, we're doing the after. It's gonna be your turn.
Yeah,
Randy.
you gotta
What
let
do you mean?
Brandon go.
What are you talking about? I thought you guys did. You didn't do honorable mentions?
No, not yet.
Nobody
Oh,
did.
okay.
We're doing our 5, then we're doing our unofficial 5, and then
Which
our
show are you listening
Welcome
to?
to the show, Brandon.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very tired. I'm the old guy in the group.
We're
Remember?
halfway through.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Sorry.
Here we go. Tied at number 5.
Ah, see? I knew it!
I only
course.
did it because you did it. I added it because I wanted to put this film in. Rogue and Dead Silence. At number 4, 1408.
Cool.
At number 3, Grindhouse. At number 2, The Mist. And at number 1, The Orphanage.
Yes.
Nice.
The Orphanage is a 10 out of 10 film for
Oh,
me.
it absolutely is.
I really got to check that
I-
out because I remember Brandon was blowing it, I think, on the first show.
I
Me
love it.
too.
The Mist might be a 10 out of 10 for me. A 9.5 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's,
man.
but it was. I had to put The Orphanage just
Sucker
above it.
Punch ending alone, but hey.
Oh
anyway.
my God. Yeah.
I didn't understand the ending completely. I remember discussing that, saying, well, did this happen or is it this? Is this a happy ending or is it a sad ending? And I did see it twice, and I own it.
Missed? You could decipher whether or not that was sad or
no.
happy?
The Orphanage. That's what you were talking
What?
about.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. He did put a bullet in it all. Though. This is great.
He's like, who's that guy screaming?
This is funnier than Schindler's List.
I thought you were talking about The Orphanage. Okay.
Oh
I knew you were
gosh.
talking about The Orphanage, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Do we want to give a 5 of unofficials, including everything?
I have them in order almost.
Oh,
Nice.
shit sticks.
Really?
Shit.
I didn't make one, so I really couldn't.
Oh, here. Inside was like would have probably been my number 1. Trick or Treat,
Yes.
Wreck,
Yep.
and Frontiers would have also ranked really high, man, and would have probably kicked I Am Legend, Saw 4, Severance, and probably even bumped Grindhouse off that list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I had those exact 4. I had 1 Trick or Treat, 2 Inside, 3 Frontiers, 4 Wreck, and 5 The Deaths of Ian Stone.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
Neither have I.
I really enjoy that film. It's one of the 8 films to die for, but I think it came out in 2008.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, we should have let Watson go first. What's the matter with you?
No,
asshole? See?
no,
See?
man, you guys like you said them. You said them too. I mean, Trick or Treat would have been hands down my number 1. But like you said them too. And when did Martyrs or Martyrs? When did that one? Well, I know it got released in technically 09, but I mean, all these films were that's why but that's why I'm saying 2007 is so good, because all the creative juices were happening at the same time right here. Okay, theatrically released, this and that's, a year or two later. 07, 06-ish, that little pocket of time is when the paradigm was starting. I'm in. Love it. So, yeah, Dave, you go. You've all said my movies.
I really don't, because I didn't think to do it. Of course, Trick or Treat's on that list, and Wreck is on that list. What else would be that I couldn't put on?
P2.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give a shout out to P2 because I saw it this year for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. So
wait, is this P2 or B2? Sorry.
It's R2D2.
It's a callback to the earlier joke. Fuck
yeah.
How about the remake of The Hitcher, Dave?
It might have been better. I'm gonna watch it. I might enjoy it more than the original.
You probably will.
The guy's not so stupid.
I've never seen the remake.
Not so stupid. Yeah.
The remake fucks up a lot of things, but at the same token, it does. It loses a lot of sort of reason behind the movie.
Sure. You guys, speaking of 2007 remakes, Halloween's
on there.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I heard anyone say it, because if you heard my Halloween episode, I rank that a little higher than most people do. So
Some people love it. 22 Shots has it in their fucking Hall of Fame.
Oh, I love that movie.
Bill Casanelli likes it more than the original. I think he blows that one all left, right, and center. I don't know. Maybe I'm overstating his like over the original, but I remember him saying, in 10 years, this will be considered a classic unto itself. I will never.
Bill?
I'll tell you what,
it's
though.
10 years later now?
Actually, that is kind of funny. Damn.
I think it meant from.
No, but I got a shout out with BC there, because like you guys, like freaking, if someone said, "Hey, Halloween, like which ones would you never watch again?" I'd be like, "I'll tell you what, I'll watch 78 and the Rob Zombies and dump the rest." Oh, yeah. Wow. That's kind of what I'd say, and I do like. I'm not saying I'm hating. Just those would be my picks.
I guess Halloween 4
the 2007 remake though. So yeah, okay. Honorable mention there. 2007 Halloween.
Dave, how come you haven't mentioned
Poughkeepsie Tapes?
No, Paranormal Activities, because you haven't gotten your copy yet?
Paranormal Activity, I'll give it props for being a little bit groundbreaking in that film style, but if I'm ranking them, it's like my third favorite in that series. Like part 1 I give a 6, part 2 I give a 7, part 3 I give an 8 out of 10. That's how I rank
Activity is groundbreaking. It's like Ambien.
Oh, come on.
Cinematic Ambien.
Oh.
Till the last act. I'll talk about Long Pigs.
Like it.
Since we were supposed to be doing Long Pigs for the show.
Yeah, talk about Long Pigs.
We couldn't get everybody to see it. You know what? It surprised the shit out of me. I didn't rate it excessively high, but I actually think I liked it more than Capture Kill Release. And I think Capture Kill Release owes a lot to that movie, to be honest.
Oh, nice.
Now, the similarities
like Capture Kill Release.
And the similarities are closer to Behind the Mask, but maybe not, like, you won't, maybe blow it, Watson, because of the fact that it's not going as deep. It's not a deconstruction, but it's about, I mean, from a setup standpoint, it's about two filmmakers, amateur filmmakers. They state that right from the get-go, that find a pot of gold, which is a cannibalistic serial killer, and they decide to film him to learn more about his life. And it's how matter-of-factly things are shown and portrayed in the movie that makes it nice. Engaging and also entertaining to an extent, because it's pretty gruesome what you see, but it's definitely worth seeking out. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
I gave it a rating of 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, that was on one view. So
now Christian officially blows Long Pigs.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. I'm not allowed to blow pigs.
Yeah.
No ham on Easter. That nice little Jewish boy, Jesus.
Oh, that's great.
Oy vey.
Well, if I can get my hands on it, I'm gonna watch it for damn sure.
Yeah, don't even bother with that YouTube version. It's god awful.
Okay.
That's why I didn't. You said not to, and I said, let's not do it. So, but then we would not have been able to talk about these two fine films, which, by the way, we're going to have to get into Wreck next. So what do you say we talk about Wreck?
Yes.
Okay, Wreck 2007. A television reporter and a cameraman follow emergency workers into a dark apartment building and are quickly locked inside with something terrifying. Now, the first thing I want to ask is, infected film, zombie film, or both?
Neither.
Neither.
Neither. Really.
Neither. Did you see the way this climax, and did you watch part 2?
All over Brendan's face?
I've seen all 4.
Oh, I've never seen any of them except for this one.
Oh, I've seen all 4.
Okay. Well, if you're gonna force me to choose, I mean, because there is an actual infection that apparently does spread.
Yeah.
I guess you could say infected.
But it does have reanimation qualities.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's more than that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can't go into spoiler. I mean, we could go into spoiler because it's an old movie and it doesn't matter.
Let's go right into ratings.
Yeah.
I'm not going right into ratings, but I will say that, there's some devilish shit going on here.
I will say I want to sleep with Angela.
Oh,
Angela.
Angela Merkel.
Not Angela, Angela.
No, Angela Merkel, the
nice
German Prime Minister.
Yes,
Angela
nice.
Vidal.
I'll say this: found footage, one of the best. One of the best.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm not hearing. I don't hear anything
five.
from Mr. Watson. I mean,
yeah, it's great. It's great.
Fuck, man. You.
Yes. Let's
off the
preface.
fucking show.
Let's.
But I'm gonna be pissed when you guys give this a higher rating than Behind the Mask. I'm not gonna be pissed.
That's the problem. You're going to be pissed.
You are going to be pissed,
I'm not going to be pissed.
But here's the thing: there's this movie is very on the surface. There's no depth. There's no deep analysis to it where there was for Behind the Mask, and we just didn't see it the way you did yet.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm not. I was just busting balls a second.
Oh no, I know, but I'm saying it's because it's weird because it's sometimes easier just to. It's weird sometimes. This is going to be a film that's definitely going to get a higher score from you right now. But realistically, you would think, based on my taste in films, that Leslie Vernon would be more the type of film I like.
Well,
when
again,
it becomes
great
more
script. Great script. This had the script it needed. It's fast paced. It's
Very
gory
fast.
and it's scary.
It is deeply unsettling.
They fit a lot.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's beautiful. Done. It's like check.
Yeah.
Except it's fucking Mexican. That's a Spanish. That's a fuck. One strike against it.
It's worth it to have.
No, I'm totally kidding.
just to watch Angela Vidal screaming freaking half the movie, getting pissed off. If that was in English, it wouldn't. I don't think I would enjoy it as much. I enjoy the fact that it's that it's in Spanish.
You like the fire guys. You like them. You like the characters. Yeah. They established them. And they're not throwaways. Like you actually care for everybody, and that takes something else. Like usually they could be just throwaway characters. You don't really care. You're in it for the gore and whatever. This one engages you, and you want them to somehow get the fuck out of there.
Exactly. And if anything, it's a little hard to keep track of all the characters because you're kind of engaged with all of them, even though some of them you only see for in like almost the periphery, but you still are engaged with them because anyone who has a speaking role kind of. Expresses their fear and their concern for their loved ones. So you're into it from the very beginning.
Well, remember that arguing old couple who just
I love it.
And then
why can't I see it?
Yeah. And then there was that gayish fella who didn't know that they're recording. Yeah. And then he's not down with the Asian folks who live in the building. So he's like, and I wrote this down when I was watching. He's like, they eat raw fish. It smells. Yeah. They always leave the door open. I don't know why. I mean, if they were the nice kind that do feng shui and cool stuff, but no, they come in and out screaming in Chinese all the time and Japanese. I don't know, something I don't understand. And he's like, when do we start the interview? But check this out, you guys. So I was dying at this part, but then I went on YouTube a while ago looking at the trailer, or maybe it was a clip of the movie. It wasn't the proper trailer. It was like a clip of the movie. And in the comments, somebody wrote, why the hell, listen to this. Why the hell would Asians or Chinese people Asians or Chinese people moved to Mexico in the first place. And then listen to this. The next dude goes, dude, WTF, this movie was from Spain anyway. And then the original guy replies, whatever, but you couldn't pay me enough to move to Mexico, bro. That's going to be a new a segment on my show where I start reading comments I find online about the movie, like stuff like that. So I'm going to start on episode 9, but yeah, I was dying at that part. So yeah,
that was JP who left that comment.
Oh yeah, he's the full-blooded half Mexican.
Honestly, I wanted it to be like, sorry, I wanted to make that Mexico joke to get the JP reference, but then I'm like, fuck, it's from Spain, so you can't really do it.
No, you can because of what that guy said.
Yeah, well, that's
what
it.
What say about Mexico, bro?
He's not moving to Mexico.
Sorry, Brandon, what were you about to say?
Oh, I don't know. Was I about to say something?
Yeah.
You lost it?
I'm looking at my notes now.
We were talking about the characters and how they felt, because there was because this didn't get a lot of negative reviews, but some of them were that some people felt the people on the periphery were a bit throwaway. I don't agree with that, but that was what some people were saying. So
it's so fast paced.
10 minutes, you get what you need. That's
hour
all
and
you
15 minutes, the whole movie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But so it might feel like they're throwaway, especially when it comes to all the mayhem and carnage. But it's awesome. It's almost like an action horror film. It is an action horror film.
Yeah, well said.
Dave's like, I don't like it now.
Dave's like, wait, was there a gun in this?
Well, it's fast paced, so I guess
there was a gun in it.
There was
a gun.
Dave's like 8 out of 5.
I'll take. Yeah.
5 out of 8.
Mr. Watson,
yeah.
First time watch. Did you think it was scary?
Okay, and here's the odd thing about that question. Yes, I did, but the bummer was that, like I told you before we started recording, was that years back I'd watched Quarantine first with no knowledge that this Spanish original film existed. But listen to this. Because when you see a remake before the original, it can diminish the entertainment value of that original property, and that's compounded by the fact that, like we also said before we were recording, that Quarantine is damn near a shot-for-shot remake of Rec, except for that ending. But I'm not going to dock Rec for that. Like, much of the novelty and surprise might not have been there for me, but shoot, what's cool is I haven't seen the other films in the franchise, so if there's any retconning going on, I don't know anything about that. But I don't know. I liked this film as it was, even seeing Quarantine. This and especially the ending twist. I was not expecting that, and that's what skyrocketed my rating. I was originally probably at like about a healthy 7.5 on this, and that bumped my rating right up when I saw that ending explanation for what's really going on. Because Quarantine, it's pretty simple. It's a virus. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, right on. And that's what I thought it was going to be. And then when they dropped that load all over my mind, that load of knowledge.
Wow, on your mind?
On my mind.
What a waste of a good load.
Hey, you know what?
I prefer it on my chin. No, I'm gonna say, look, without spoilering. Yep. Now I'm stroking out. Without
stroking off.
Will you stop?
Hey.
The franchise as a whole is a very strong franchise, and you do have to see them all.
Okay.
Three is sort of like a standalone side film, but it's a lot of fun. But the rest of them do all tie in together. So there are a lot of red herrings in this film as to what's exactly going on. And you do get enough that it makes it a great film if they had never done a sequel. I mean, it can be a tiny bit confusing because it's very quick at the end, and you're really focusing more on the atmosphere of it rather than, what they're actually saying. But it does all tie into a much bigger story.
So this is a good franchise for me to continue with, because I will.
Absolutely.
See, and that's
100%.
2 is phenomenal as well. I actually don't think I've seen 3 or 4.
3
you don't even need to.
3 was fun. 3 you don't have to, but 4 you definitely have to see, because 1, 2, and 4 are the ones you have to see.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I would say that 4 is more throwaway. That 3 actually, it makes more sense with continuity, because it goes like into prequel territory, and we get to see how things happen. Where 4 is an after effect of everything that happens after 2, and whether or not it's a good movie is irrelevant. I just don't think it's necessary. You can just watch 1 and 2 and be done with it.
Well, there you go.
Honestly.
1 and 2.
There you go.
Seriously,
guys, positive Dave Z.
Dave Z.
Hey, I'm just giving the truth. You can watch 1 and 2, and you should watch them one after the other, and it's incredible.
Which one first?
1 first,
Okay.
then 2.
Just making sure.
If you want to watch 3 and 4, go ahead. I just think that it's like, I don't know.
Well, because that's why, like, when Dave suggested this film, because we were kind of knocking around what we do besides Behind the Mask, and when Dave, you suggested Rec, and I was like, oh, I don't know, man, like I've never seen it, and you were like, yes, we're doing it, and I was like, wait, but what if you guys want to do a retro? And you were just like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Well, now we are.
I'm in.
I just
one
feel
a
like
week.
the weakest of the franchise is still a well above average film.
Well, the listeners are demanding a Rec retro, and they want Mr. Watson on. No, I'm playing.
Okay, next time you come on, we'll do part 2. We'll go.
Oh,
through
jeez,
it.
no, no.
36 episodes from now.
18 episodes.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh no, we can't, because next 18 is going to be year 1986.
2086.
2008.
Yes, 2086. Yeah. Listen, I just love the movie. I think it's basically perfectly paced. You hit the ground running. You go right into it. The pacing is great. You have good blood, good gore. You have a good story. You have shocking moments. There's 3 or 4 jump scares that work really well, where you can't even complain about it being too jump scary.
They weren't forced.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
And,
they were perfect.
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
It's scary because this is something like I feel like I would see on the news now. Like this genuinely frightens me. This is, you know what I'm saying?
I
from the
also
infected part,
Yeah, from the infected part, where it goes, not. Go ahead, Christian. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, we said it before, but I just want to continue on it because I know, Mr. Watson, you said that a few people said that. Why do I keep calling you Mr.
Mr. Watson. That's
Mr. Watson. I'm sticking by it.
Dr. Watson.
that's what they call me. My first 2 initials are DR though, so.
They call me Mr. Watt. Anyway, you're saying
will you
some of
call
the
me Mr. too or no?
Doctor? I call him Dr. Watt sometimes.
No, me. If you're calling him Mr., will you call me Mr.?
No, you're Dave.
Z.
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
J.
Zed?
Mr. Z. Anyway, argument that some of the characters are throwaway. I mean, ultimately, we get thrown into the situation, so you're with the 2 firefighters and the main girl, but they do a good job of giving these people a bit of personality in the small interactions based on the fact that it's found footage and we get thrown into the situation. And so you care about them, like the old guy that helps, and when they're all fighting these creatures, infected off, whatever it may be, that, some of them are cowards, some of them are more heroic. I think you get just enough taste based on how we're thrown into the scenario and how it all plays out. So
the fact that I'm sitting here and I feel like I could tell you each and every single character and a little bit of their backstory, even the minor characters, says that they gave you just enough.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Colombian girl, even the old lady, they give you enough of everyone.
Well, I'll tell you what. It helps when you're watching in subtitles. You don't miss a beat.
Well, have any of you watched a dub version? I watched in subtitles myself. Like, did you guys catch dubbed?
No, I won't.
I don't think there is a dubbed unless they've done it.
I don't think there is.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm just saying, when you're forced to read things, you pick up on more with character and with story than you do without them.
Or I watch all
I'm saying.
movies with subtitles. Yeah.
I tend to watch a lot.
There's that one scene right near the beginning of when the mayhem starts, when I believe it's the policeman or the fireman just hits the floor.
Drops.
Oh God.
It gets me every time. Alex. Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
What about that syringe to the face?
Oh.
Whoa. I was not expecting that. Holy crap.
Oh, man.
Good effects right there.
Great effects.
How about when the guy that's fixing his hair, that guy, you didn't tell me you were recording. This is
He's my favorite.
He is great. He's hysterical. And it comes at a crucial part in the film where he's explaining something very important. Maybe their last chance to get out of this alive. And then the way those 2 hands break through the glass and freaking grab the back of his head, and then he's a goner. Awesome.
That's the guy that I was talking about, because he's the one that he was like saying there's if you can get into the basement, it connects and you can get out.
The sewers.
Yeah. And then that what a great setup, great character, and then just.
So you guys were okay with him just getting dispatched kind of simply like that? He relays his information, he's gone? You're cool with that?
It was more tragic because of that. I was like, oh, because he's just about to give the information, and you don't even get it fully. And then that happens, and you're like, oh.
Well, he gave it
fully, right?
Yeah, he gave it. He gave
No?
it full.
They didn't know where to go. They had to find out.
They had to find the keys, right?
They went to
They had
get
to
the
find out where
keys,
the
but
place
when
was.
Angela and the cameraman came back out, they were going to go back downstairs with
They
Manu,
couldn't.
but Manu had already turned and everyone was charging up the stairs. So they had no choice but to go up to the penthouse.
But
That
when
kill-
it happened,
That kill with that guy was the only part of the movie that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that, because it was so timely. I almost was like, and now, and then he was dead, and I was like, oh, I wish I was wrong, but it's not gonna dock it much. That's just nitpick. Blah.
Really, I really like that. But yeah, I can see. Again, you're coming in with fresh eyes. I've seen the movie a few times, so
Okay, sure.
but no, I've always loved that. To be honest, I think just for the type of movie it is.
And you're right. Yeah, definitely. It moves at such. They fit in so much in this short running time, you guys. Like, whoa.
boy, yeah.
And it wasn't just like infected / zombies lunging at the camera. It was part that, but then like some revelations throughout, or especially at that ending. And man, I was like, man, with such a short running time, well done with showing everything you wanted to. That's great. That's the goal of a film, I think.
I feel like if there's one character we can complain that they might have dispatched a little too quickly, it would be Manu. Just because, I mean, obviously I don't even think he gets bit. I think he gets like spit on.
Thrown. He gets thrown off the thing. Oh,
that's
wait a
Alex.
minute.
No, it was off screen, wasn't it? Like
It-
he leaves and then he comes back and they're like, oh, he's infected now. Right?
Yeah, it was right before the last act.
I
It
feel
was
like I
perfect
missed that.
timing.
No,
Oh,
but
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
no, I think he was spit up on because he's fighting all the things. There's a whole badass sequence where he breaks the Chinese guy's neck, then he's pulling the Colombian girl off Angela, then he punches the Asian woman in the face.
That was awesome.
Yeah, he's just like beating the shit
Yeah.
out of everyone. And he was a really strong character. And then, they go to get the keys and they're going to meet up with him and he's turned, but
That's
they
perfect
said
timing.
No,
How many
it-
people you want in the fucking climax? You already
I
have
didn't
two.
want
You
him
got
in
the
the
guy with the
climax,
camera
but
and
I wanted to know more about how he turned. Is it just simply because of the saliva? Because if that's the case, then Angela really should have turned.
Dude, they all turned. That was the best part of the film almost, right before they get into the thing. All of a sudden, they go down to get there, and she reaches over, she yells for him, and she sees that cop, and then freaking all of a sudden, you see 5 infected people all looking up in that beautiful shot when they're all looking up at the same time, all infected, and he's one of them. I thought that was a crazy impactful scene, the timing and the presentation of it.
That was a good shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. That's meaningful. Like she's expecting him to be there, one of her last hopes, and instead of him, he's infected, and everybody else is, and they're all freaking gonna come after them right then and there. I think, wow, I can't believe you didn't get that same feel as I did with that. Man, unbelievable. You disappoint me, Brandon.
I didn't even say anything.
Oh shit!
This is
How
gonna be
much
funny.
fun-
It's gonna be funny to listen back to because I actually didn't even say anything. I was just talking about
Yes, you
Manu's.
did.
I was talking about Manu's character. I wanted it to be fleshed out a little bit more how he turned. Not that
What's
scene.
the difference how we turned? There's a million people. There's a million
No,
infected there. He got bit like everybody else. What
He's
do you
one of the
mean how?
lead characters. He's one of the lead characters.
I understand, but like I said, how many people do you want in your climax? You already have 2. It's going to be 2 at the end. The cameraman and Angela. It could only be them because he's holding the camera. And it's got to be Angela. So what did you want, 3 of them to go upstairs into that fucking dark room?
How great was it when he
there.
drops the camera to help the guy, though? I just thought that was a really good touch. It shows you about his character, but it's also like literally he just keeps it going and recording and whatnot. I thought they handled all that really cool. Oh, just a little addition, just to get you guys off of arguing about nonsense.
We're not arguing. I just don't understand why he wants 3 people in the climax.
I don't think he.
Come on, Christian, give a joke.
Because literally,
Too
because
easy.
then 1 minute after that, they're in that room. That's why. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, I
That's like
get
what-
it, but what? How did Manu turn?
See, I do feel like I missed that. Speaking to Brandon's point, I do feel like I was surprised. Like, oh, he's now one of them. And I, Dave, I think you're saying it happened in the scuffle. Now he's turned, and that's what you got, right? I felt like I missed it too.
No, it had to go to the penthouse. We knew the minute.
Yes.
Oh, it's a Spanish guy. We knew immediately even if it's the first time watch, you know something's up. You know,
Chekhov's apartment, yeah.
Yeah, they give you all the red herrings about the dog and the vet and this and that, and then but you know that the penthouse is where it has to be. But I'm saying it just in terms of a throwaway kill or a throwaway turn into a infected zombie or whatever the hell they are.
Oh, you're saying
the shot itself is great. It's super intense.
You would have rather seen him attacked in a
Well, he had that great fight sequence, like I was telling you, where he fought the Asian people and he fought the girl who was attacking Angela. I would have liked to seen him like go down fighting.
I get it. You want to see like what happened to the guy that I was just talking about with the hands going through the door.
What if he looked up and he was fine when she looked down, and then all of a sudden the 5 other infected looked up and he says, "Get the hell out of here! You know, go!" And then he just fights them. You know, just something like that. Nitpick.
Nice
I
job.
can see that though.
Yeah.
Well said. You rebounded.
I'm back on the show, guys.
You're back in.
Can't believe you're still
After
talking
a bad
about it,
review of
that's great.
Behind the Mask.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get that movie off my mind now because of like how much you love that film. I want to be there with you.
All right.
Come to
Holding
Olympia.
hands. Yeah.
Come to
Dave,
Olympia.
Christian, earmuff it for a sec.
Mouth muffet.
Mouth muffet.
Ghoulie
How
Muppet.
about feng?
Yeah.
Ghoulie Muppet. How about
Fucking
feng
guys.
shui? They say feng shui in 2 movies that we watched tonight. They mention it in Behind the Mask and Wreck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't you remember when Leslie Vernon said
Feng
that when he
shui?
walked in that place?
I don't remember Leslie Vernon saying it because I just quoted it from the Caesar or whomever. But that's cool.
Yeah, he says it
Dave
too.
Z. That's why you do this.
I'm bumping up Leslie Vernon to a 10 because they said feng shui.
Okay.
9.57642.
Bonus points. Can anyone tell me a third movie where they say feng shui? It's a horror movie.
Are you talking about Larceny with Andy Dick and Joshua Leonard from Blair Witch? It's more of a comedy horror, but there is a slasher element to it, and they say feng shui a lot. They can't even pronounce it.
That wasn't it, but good guess.
Oh, okay.
Rosemary's Baby.
The Boogans.
No, Freddy vs. Jason. That idiot says it. Oh, nice feng shui.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dave, I thought you were turning over a new leaf. I'm going to be so positive. Like, you're happy, but I see rage underneath all this happiness. The rage!
Oh, the rage. Yeah, the plum rage. That's
The plum rage.
There's so much
It's
rage.
coming. One of these days, they're all going to know. Michael, the rage. Anyway.
Oh, my God. I love it.
What a movie.
Halloween 5 speech.
Halloween 5.
Oh, go home, Michael. Oh, that's fucking.
That's awesome.
The worst.
Unless anyone's notes interferes, what you all y'all gangsters thinking about that ending? You know, what's your takeaway from what they discover in that sealed up apartment? And obviously, I haven't seen the other film, so I don't know what further revelations there are. But are we all on the same page? Because I was reading some crazy people who were like trying to say some odd things that I was not getting. That there's, well, I don't know. What do we all think of the ending?
It's awesome. The whole movie gets turned on its ass in the last 15 minutes in the best possible way.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's, in the ending, the last shot, in my opinion, is an iconic scene in horror. That's how
It
good
really is. It really is. It
Yes.
has become that over the last decade or so. We
Definitely.
know. Yeah.
Good call.
So can I
Amazing.
run by you what I think was going on in the ending, and you can tell me if I'm accurate?
Is it a deconstruction of the infected
No.
zombie? Okay, no.
It's not even- actually, you know what? Get ready for that. No. So what I got from it was that they discover that over in Portugal. So they get in that, they bust up in that sealed apartment, and they're looking on the wall, see all the psychopathic, everything's plastered to the walls, the news articles. They see over in Portugal, which you guys is only 250 miles away from Spain, and they find through evidence all over the apartment that there was a demon possession case that had gotten some media attention, a big deal. And then we find out that the man who lives in that sealed up apartment, who they mentioned earlier in the film, Chekhov's sealed apartment, was involved in that case. And he kidnapped that possessed girl named Tristana. And yeah, do you like my little accent there? Yeah, Tristana.
Good job.
And
Twirled the R.
Tristana Medeiros.
Oh, Tristana Medeiros. And yeah,
I don't think
so-
she's kidnapped. though.
Well,
I'll interrupt you.
okay, here's the reason I think so. Okay, maybe not, but at least he took her there, got her there somehow, and he began experimenting on her so he could discover the biological cause of, and then the big twist, this isn't a virus that's just mere zombies, this is demon possession. And so supposedly it has to do with an enzyme of some kind. So that enzyme clearly got out through that dog that they mentioned early in the film, and then it begins to infect the others in that apartment building. So that is that about right? Because we know from the tape, this guy seemed to be like a part of the Vatican, experience of trying to rid her of that demon. And so, yeah, they bust in that dark apartment to hide out. They find out all this through the articles and the tape recorder, and then they see this this was like my favorite. This is like, because I was not expecting this after seeing Quarantine, you guys. I knew what was going to happen, right? But then all of a sudden, they see that long, spindly-looking creature standing in the dark, like in the kitchen. They've got the Paris Hilton night vision going. Like there's some infected kid in the right, and there's some infected kid in the attic. But it's here where we really find that this isn't like a run-of-the-mill virus. It's supernatural, and you, like you said, Dave, like it turns it on its ass. And the fact that we're dealing with a spreadable demonic possession. That's something I've never seen before.
Turn on
and
ass,
especially,
spreadable. Sorry.
Yes.
yeah, you had Christian at spreadable.
Yeah, he's just like, ooh, show me more. But like, yes, a spreadable demonic possession. I've never seen that in a film before, especially since it's framed in a zombie or infected narrative. So we're dealing with a spiritual contagion. And I love that blending of like the biological and the supernatural. That's clever writing, like just through and through. And so this creature, this possessed girl, who's been in the apartment for God knows how long, she's the first infected or possessed person we see who looks truly demonic to me. Like, I mean, they all start exhibiting the early symptoms, but this is someone who's had those symptoms for a while. And I didn't expect the film to go here. And I'm just saying now, this bumped my rating up a lot. So what an ending.
No, it is a great ending. And now you just have you explaining it just makes it seem like it's a big remake of Demons 2.
Oh.
You remember that? No, it's like Demons 2, man.
Yeah.
Demons in an apartment high-rise.
Yeah.
Right.
Infected. So did that sound accurate? Did I get it? Because I felt like for some reason I felt like I missed something about who the guy was and how he got Tristana Medros there.
No, you were right on point because he does work for the Vatican and he was called in to do what he did.
Okay.
And he ultimately fails, and then he abandons Tristana, thinking she'll just die up in the penthouse and that'll be the end of it. But she doesn't die because she's this immortal, reanimated.
Oh man, I love it. Do we hear from this guy in the franchise? Oh, never mind. Don't answer that.
You gotta watch.
Yeah, just watch.
Right?
Okay.
You have time tonight. So only
I do.
Like 10.
It's 6:00 in the afternoon. How you guys doing? You ready to go for another 3 hours?
You fuck.
You know what? I take it back. Brandon's right. You should watch them all. There's nothing wrong with that.
So I should watch 3 and 4 now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They should be seen. Yeah. But I'm saying it's not the end of the world if you only just see 1 and 2, because I have 1 and 2 on a very high level.
Yes.
And I don't have 3 and 4 there. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with Dave that 1 and 2 are the best, but just as a whole franchise, they're all like strong.
Yeah, I mean, 3 has comedy going on in it that I wish they didn't, and they halfway through the movie they abandoned the found footage thing, but it's good for prequel. Yeah, and 4 is completely different, and it's just I only saw it once and I liked it, and I just don't remember a lot about it, so it didn't have an impact on me.
It's like Behind the Mask; it just abandons it for the last act.
Yeah. So what do you wait? No, that's funny. But that's funny, man. But I was just gonna ask, what do you think would have been different if we didn't get the immediacy of the first person perspective and POV in this film, and it instead had been the omniscient third person kind of more traditional like filming style? Do you think that would have worked with this one? No. I agree. I agree.
The charm of it is that it's frantic and it seems realistic as hell. Like in the conversations that occur between the reporter and her cameraman, everything seems genuine, and there's certain sequences that seem like they're one long shot. I mean, it's edited perfectly. Maybe there were some long shots that were in it, the execution just happened to fall into place. But no, I think it has to be found footage. I think this is like a what's the word? Like a tentpole movie in the subgenre, if you will.
A tadpole?
A tadpole, yes.
Tadpole movie.
Yes.
There was a frog in this?
A small frog.
Infected tadpoles.
What a fucking ass. Nice.
Christian's not even mincing words.
Yeah.
No.
Like that part when they rewind. You know how
Yes.
cool that is? When after they kill the lady,
Yeah.
she's like, rewind, I want to see it. I love that. You don't see that in a found footage movie. You know what I mean? Not that way. It's
You
just
see Spaceballs.
Space. See, your Schwartz is as big as mine.
You don't remember
Or
that?
or the remake of Funny Games.
okay. Maybe they did, but not in found footage. Come
No.
on, man. You know, it's done perfectly here. You guys agree that it would be harmed? It wouldn't be as impactful if it was filmed third person style.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Even though at times it's a little shaky, that's what it has
That's
to be.
fine.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what it has to be.
I said it
Yeah.
before. It's like one of my favorite found footage movies.
Yeah. It's it's right up there with me with Cloverfield.
Oh, I love
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
That's a great movie too.
Yeah.
See, but this movie, much like Cloverfield, you truly do feel like you are in the protagonist's shoes. But
Exactly.
I think more so with this because there's more people and they're in an enclosed place and like just the feel you get, like when that thing drops on the outside and you know they're trapped, and it's more believable than Cloverfield too.
No, I've
You know?
seen that monster before. He killed me before.
Clovey?
Clovey. Clovey.
But this is more
Clovey.
believable. Don't you think an infected thing like this could happen where they come in and they shut people off and they show that they don't give a shit about even their own police? And that's something the government would do in any country. And it's
Yeah.
believable and scary. It's scary that this could happen.
A BNC protocol.
Especially in your country.
Indeed. Indeed.
What are your ratings, boys?
I'm searching for mine. I lost my notes where my rating is.
I always rate on the spot because I always figure the conversation could affect it one way or the other. And I'm going to come in with an
Nice.
8.5 out of 10.
8.5, huh? Well, this is a rare thing for me, but it's 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a
I
rare.
think it's-
The Witch, Bone Tomahawk.
Clickety clackety.
Yeah. Yeah.
One movie a year. How's that?
Yeah.
One movie a year. It's gotten a 10 out of 10. This is the only 10 out of 10 for 2007, in my opinion. So there you go.
What about P2?
That's an 8. I really did like it.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's in
I
my
never
Christmas
saw.
rotation.
I haven't seen P1 yet, so.
Go back into the archives of the show. He's cracked that joke on various different movies. Not necessarily P1, P2, but any movie with a number in the title.
Apollo 18. I haven't seen Apollo 1 through 17.
U571.
Yeah.
U571.
He's like, I gotta watch all.
It's gonna take me forever to catch up on the U movies.
Yeah.
The U series.
You get
yes.
it. You get it. That's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Nice. 9 out of 10. So 10, 8.5. So yeah, I'm at 8.5 myself. Loved it.
What did you give it, Christian? Sorry.
9! It just missed the Holly, eh?
Yeah, missed it. It missed the HOF by a half a point. Oh, poor thing. Oh.
What's the matter there? Dave's like,
Hey,
He's pissed. He wants you to give it a 9.5. Go ahead.
it's special. It's a special movie. I think
It
it,
is a
really is
special
that damn good.
Oh man. See,
Especially
this jumped up.
compared to other found footage movies. Like I look at my list here, and how many movies do I rank this high? I would say less than 5. So yeah.
You know what? Just for you, I'm gonna drop my rating.
And I raised mine to a 9.
There we go.
0.782. No. Watson rating.
What? Yep. Straight Watson style. That's Wreck. That's it. Excellent.
beautiful.
We got one more order of business to take care of before we go.
The official transfer of ownership of Brandon's role to Mr. Watson.
Oh man.
Transfer of ownership.
Transfer.
Trying to make it sound all official.
What are you like trading in a vehicle? Transfer.
Yeah, we got a pink slip and everything for him.
You get to, pass him over the sheet. Take that sheet off Brandon's back and pass it over to Mr. Watson.
Well, he can have
ceremony.
He can have Horror Corridor. He'd probably put out more episodes than I would.
Yeah, but would he ever breathe?
Oh.
Today on Horror Corridor number 5. What? This is a hidden gem show?
Oh man. No, I loved that solo cast. I'm not even joking about that.
We
I
all
loved
loved it. We all
So
loved
many
it.
people
Well, it's because I helped out with it, so that's
hidden,
really why I'm
hidden
saying.
breaths.
No.
Hey,
No, it's a
Brandon,
great show.
I'll tell you what you should do here. What? Edit edit everything. There's too many pauses. Oh, really, Mr. Watson? You think so? Yeah. Edit, Brandon. Okay.
I almost told him I'd edit it, but I never did make that offer.
No, well, supposedly I was supposed to edit all of them, but Brandon wanted to edit his own, so I give him
That's
kudos,
admirable.
man. He wanted to do it. He did it.
It was fun. It almost cost me my sanity, but it was a lot of fun doing it.
How many arguments did you get in with your dad?
What's that?
How many arguments did you get into with your dad?
No, I didn't get into any arguments. He was yelling at me to stop. To stop acting nuts because I was losing my mind over it. Took me 17 hours to edit an hour.
Brandon,
Oh,
I'm
man.
gonna get Dr. Lipschitz on the phone if you don't stop acting this way.
I have a feeling he'll call in again.
You're in trouble.
Okay.
You're in.
You're Dr. Lipschitz.
The good
Okay,
doctor,
part
yes.
4s.
Okay.
Infamous part 4s.
Dude, fuck part 4s. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, this was tough.
Although,
This is when-
I think I got a good list.
Yeah.
And
we all
I
have
didn't
good
I didn't take the cop out of Evil Dead remake as being part
No,
4.
I didn't.
You bastard. I mean, I don't know. I don't
No
know.
cop outs. There has to be a 4 in the title.
Well, that's
Well,
not.
it's the 4th in the franchise. It's the 4th in the franchise.
Oh, so Evil Dead does count, is what you're saying.
It could.
Not that it
it's
matters.
Not my rule. It don't matter. No, not at
Mr.
all.
Watson, you get to go first, our guest of honor.
Okay. So, like you guys said, homies, part 4s, what the hell? I went back, I just found out that I don't like part 4s. Case in point, I went back and marathoned all the main franchises within the last year. And with the exception of Friday, I discovered I would not grade many of these franchises very highly as a whole. Not at all. So when we're talking part 4s, I look at Halloween, Nightmare, Chainsaw, Hellraiser, the big ones, and I'm just this is the best there is. This is what you got. I'm not trying to hate, but damn. So at number 5, I'm talking Land of the Dead 2005. At number 4, Saw 4 2007. At number 3, Resident Evil Afterlife 2010. At number 2, this one won't appear on anyone else's list, Friday the 13th Part 4 1984. And at number 1, Evil Dead 2013.
It's
out.
number 1. Even.
Cop out!
It barely, you know what?
I heard
one
one
and-
part 4 in there.
1 and 2. No, there were 2 Part 4s. Saw 4 and Friday 4. But I don't know. 1 and 2 were interchangeable, honestly, because I love Friday 4. But I will watch Evil Dead 2013 more. So that it's the thing oh, God, I love part 4 of Friday the 13th so much. But I will watch Evil Dead more and I like it about as much. And it's I watch this one more. It's number 1. And plus, it might get people talking because there were some discussions on your Facebook page about that. And I was I'm in.
No, good
All
list,
right,
good
man,
list.
nice.
And I knew someone was going to do the Evil Dead thing, so I figured I'd try to shit on it right at the beginning.
Attaboy.
I'll start. I'll go next. And you know what? I'll start with my number 1 because that's not a surprise. So my number 1 is Friday the 13th Part 4.
What?
Yeah. Number 2, Hellraiser 4 or Hellraiser Bloodline. Number 3, Saw 4. Number 4, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Number 5, Land of the Dead.
Wow.
And I do have Nightmare on Elm Street 4 in there because as much as it's a big rock video, Freddy movie, I still get some enjoyment from it. It'll piss me off, but I still have fond memories and nostalgia. Member berries or whatever the fuck you guys were trying to feed me earlier definitely play heavy into that movie.
Which the Void doesn't have, by the
Those were
way.
Dingleberries.
No, but Christian, didn't you talk a lot of crap about Friday 4 on TGIF 13?
Nightmare 4, not Friday.
Nightmare 4, that's what I meant. Not Friday 4, never. I meant Friday 4, or jeez, I meant Friday 4, not Friday the 13th 4.
No.
Nightmare 4.
Nightmare
Didn't you talk
4.
some major.
I was shitting on the whole time, and
You were.
At the end, I'm like,
You made me hate that movie, and I already didn't like it. No, I already didn't like it that
But
much.
look at
I
what
already
we
was
had
just
to pick.
meh.
Look at what we had to pick out of, and actually, I know you hate Halloween 4, and Dave, I know you can't stand Halloween 4 either, but actually, I probably would have had Halloween 4 in there, because I loved that movie when I was younger. When I was 14, and I saw it in the theater, I went nuts, especially for that ending. If that ending, with Jamie holding those scissors, doesn't make you, doesn't send chills up your back, with the music the way it kicks in, and him going,
No.
Yeah.
No. That's all I can do is laugh at that.
No, Christian, that's it. Yeah,
But
Well said.
I bumped it for pretty much Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, excuse me.
I'll tell you what. Listen, I don't like Halloween 4. I can't stand Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So I mean, I could tolerate Halloween 4 because Loomis is in it and because I like the first 15 minutes.
Same here.
So Nightmare, don't even get me started on that. That's just a whole debacle.
Come on. Here, I'll tell you why Nightmare 4. Again,
Oh no.
14 or 15. 14 years old, I think, saw it in the theater. 14 because it came out in whatever. Then anything from Dramarama took from it. Lisa Wilcox is hot, and I love how they do her sort of arc from being sort of plain Jane to hot Lisa Wilcox by the end. And there's some interesting kills. Freddy's way too much in the spotlight, and of course, in bright light. He's a game show host from hell at this point, and the one-liners are bad, but they only get worse from this point on. Maybe 5 is worse, 6 is even worse. And
I disagree with all of that. I think 4 is the epitome of his worst.
No.
But
You have to watch Freddy's Dead again. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too.
Oh,
I know.
that's so bad.
It's so bad.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But Nightmare 4, they did everything that was great about 3, and they turned it up to 11 and destroyed it.
Exactly.
Instead of taking the ball and running with it, they ran it into the ground. It was, and the plot was so nonsensical that you would think that an 8-year-old girl wrote it. It's just the
Rick,
worst.
you little
writing.
meatball. I love soul food.
I'm okay with that.
That's my favorite line.
It is funny. It is.
It is funny.
Sayonara, Rick, son.
I
really didn't-
It's awful. Oh.
I really didn't think he'd have it on his list just because of the mad shit he talked about it.
But then at the very end, I'm like, you know what? That wasn't that bad. And Vince is like, what the fuck? You shit on the movie the whole
Oh
time.
God, Vince rocks.
I remember. I was sad about it. I'm like, oh, I thought he was gonna come down like I do on it, and at the end he flaked out on me. So I felt the same way.
That's what I do. So ask my
Nice.
wife. She thought I was going to come down and then I just flake out.
Whoa. Hey now.
Mine's easy because there's a 1, and then like I said earlier, the next 4, they're not in any order. So same
it's
thing.
4.
It's obvious. Part 1 is Friday the 13th, the final chapter, of course. Now the next 4, like I said, they're not really 5, 4, 3, and 2, and I don't feel comfortable having any of these as my number 2. But that's just how fucked up Part 4s are. So my other 4 are Saw 4, Scream 4, Phantasm 4, and Ju-on the Grudge 2, which is the 4th in that series.
That was a cop. That's worse than Evil Dead remake.
How is
that's,
that
that's the number 2.
in that order?
You on the Grudge too. I like that. That's the 4th. I actually didn't know that because I've never seen any from that series except for not even the first one. Oh my God! And I know you love that one, Dave. That's that whole franchise. I got to check it out. But it's like Leprechaun 5, Leprechaun in the Hood 1.
Scream 4 pissed me off too when I first saw it. Like I just hated that movie within a movie within a movie within a movie within a movie opening. I was like, oh fuck off! You're not that smart. Come on, like just make a movie. Yeah, Scream 4 irked the shit out of me.
It's smarter than Behind the Mask.
It's a great movie.
Wait,
It's not
Never
smarter
mind.
than Behind the Mask. And
Oh.
and
I was thinking about.
Saw
Bloody
4.
fuck.
Saw 4 is just good fun. Like, Saw 4 to me is like Friday the 13th 4 in a sense. Like, you know what? I rewatched it for this show, to be honest. And I'm like, it's a fun movie, man. Because I'm like, how are they going to do 4 after the guy dies? And I thought they did a great
Right?
job of continuing the
Storyline?
story. I thought they did a great job with it.
Not only
Not
that,
even
they
so
set
much
it up for
continuing-
the rest of the franchise, really.
Right.
Part 4
And-
is
And they were smart as fuck because they have it running concurrently with 3, which makes sense how they could do it, which was awesome. I remember the first time I saw it going like, holy shit, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
And then I debunked it. Next time I saw it, I'm like, there's no way this could have happened. So I didn't watch it for years. I didn't like it. And then I came back to it a few years back and watched it again and was able to explain it all away. I said, okay, now I like this movie again.
You were very angry those few years, so that you're like,
Fuck Saw 4, man.
fuck, I'm not going back. I can't explain it.
That could
Well, then I
currently
did
run a
the banana-
motherfucker.
Yeah. But,
I don't know why you're
it
like
was for the show.
so angry.
Well, angry.
Like,
now.
do I get to
love
read my
for-
list or no?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, please.
No?
do.
Should I just go home?
No,
I-
wait.
No, Go home, Michael.
My number 1 is Jaws 4.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay.
Friday 4 was my number 1. Then I have Saw 4, Scream 4, Nightmare 4, and Children of the Corn 4. I actually like that one.
Gathering?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I like it better than Hellraiser 4 or Halloween.
See, you guys are fucked.
4.
Hellraiser 4, although even the director obviously didn't believe in his project because he dropped his name from it, it's much better. Like I said, it's my third favorite in that franchise.
I like the flashbacks. I don't like when it's all in space, which is pretty much the rest of the movie.
I don't know. There's three timelines. There's present, there's past, and there's future.
It's the best.
And Leprechaun.
It's the best icon in space movie we've gotten so far. Got to give it credit where credit's due.
Do you
Not
think it's better
including
than Jason X?
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
I'm not a Jason X fan, but I don't think that. I don't know. They're probably about the same to me. But
I might
now
have
I'm
to
giving
go
it to Jason.
Leprechaun in space.
No,
I never saw that.
Critters 4 or whatever. Which one? That
You took me space gold.
Oh, guys,
Fuck off, Willow.
Forgot.
Fuck off, Willow.
We had the
Wicket.
votes. We had the votes from the listeners.
Oh yeah,
We got a
yeah.
bunch of votes.
Shoot them to us.
For the best part 4. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is a tie for third place. So there's actually going to be 6 movies in this. So fifth place is Hellraiser. Yeah, 26 points.
That was so aggressive for a Canadian.
Hell.
Fucking kill you, motherfuckers! I'm just kidding.
He might be a Canadian, but he's an asshole first.
Oh my god.
I grew up in
Yeah,
American
Bleached
movies.
Bleached. Yeah, bleached.
Listen to this one. Number 4, kind of a surprise. Bride of Chucky.
No, I knew people loved that
Oh
one.
wow.
They do. I know, not me.
Okay.
Listeners
okay.
do not. Here's a tie for third place. Both of them with 44 points. Scream 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Buddha boosh.
Yeah, and then
Snooch to the nooch.
number 2. Number 2 is Halloween 4.
Wow.
54. Yep, I know.
Wowzers.
With 54.
BC
points.
did not like that. BC
No.
was like, "What's with all this Halloween for?" And I'm just like, "My
Yeah.
gangster."
I don't.
I'm sorry. That's a legit choice, guys.
It's like more Rob
And girls.
Zombie Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. And now first, with many more points than everything else, 91 points. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. The undisputed best part 4 in horror history.
Well deserved.
Unless you
I actually
consider
agree.
Evil Dead 4.
No, I actually agree despite my list there. I really do. So
Like from
No,
just the
something-
sheer shits and giggles, I love that term. We use it a lot on the show. Sequel, it just ramped everything up. It ramped up the gore. Jason was iconic at this point. I mean, it's just a fun movie. And again, we shit on it, and I can't believe Gordon commits suicide. But I mean, other than that, everything, it's just a great movie.
suicide, eh?
Can't believe he Gordoned himself.
Yeah, poor bastard.
Well, bastard.
Love it. Love it.
And you know what? That's all that got the votes. Only one came close. Saw 4 would have finished in 6th place with 18 points.
Okay.
So, but yeah. Friday does it. In Evil Dead, this is a strange story, but every time I've watched Evil Dead, except for the first time in the theater, I've watched it like 3 times since, and every time it makes me tired. It's like video NyQuil. I'm not saying I don't like the movie, because I do enjoy the movie, but it's the only movie that when I put it in after about an hour, I always get really, really tired. I don't
like a
understand.
Watson breakdown, right?
Oh God.
Oh.
Hashtag roasted.
Sorry, I had to. I feel like I've been picking on Christian too much tonight.
Wait a
And-
second. You
me.
guys, I misspoke tonight. Well, no, I definitely like that you roasted me there. But I misspoke tonight. My favorite part 4 is Rocky 4. Shout out to the Rocky 4 horror picture
Not to
show.
Have Rocky 4 on it.
It's supposed to be horror films only.
There's no
Uh,
easy way out.
Quit your jibber jabber.
Hey, that's Rocky 3.
Oh,
what he's saying.
Right, exactly. It's
Crazy
got beef.
Russian. It's timely now, though, Rocky 4.
Yeah,
Oh,
Russians.
hey.
Yeah, very timely.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. He's talking about
that's it.
America, guys. Ivan Drago is talking about America there.
Oh, wow. I hate that movie now.
I must break you, America. You're not reading between the lines.
But you can't break America. All right, here's my breakdown of Rocky 4. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Someday.
It's time for
Oh, gosh.
Watson dissertation.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah. We wanted music in this episode.
Yeah, we haven't had any singing, have we?
There was some
little
Black Phillip, Bama Lamb, clickety-clack.
Oh, yeah.
What's that
That's
one?
true.
I think Brandon's asleep.
Christian's
here.
usually-
I'm here.
Christian's wide awake for once, and now this guy's over here half asleep. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you want to talk about the devil's candy again?
Well, I don't know about the music that was in his head. Give me a second on that.
There's still fucking issues with that, man. I'm sorry.
I admire you, Brandon, for sticking to your rating despite, and sort of blaming yourself for not understanding the movie despite what I consider to be, Dave's more accepting of it than I am, but what I consider to be kind of a hole in that movie.
A big hole.
And I admire you for sticking to your guns because
A big hole that
admittedly...
Christian really wants to dive right in on.
Oh,
Ooh, a bleached hole. Yeah.
Thank you. I can't wait to watch it again. I do love the movies.
Let's wrap it up, shall we? My God, it's late.
It was an honor for you to be with us tonight.
it was. It really was, though. It really was.
Yeah.
And I told this guys to you. I told this guys to you. Yeah. No, I told this to you guys
Stroking
when.
out.
Yeah, I can't talk anymore. But I told this to you when I think before we started. But you guys were helping champion this podcast, Horror Corridor, since I first came out, and I just massive thanks. That Don't Breathe episode, you guys really came out for me and really just showed a lot of support. And, there have been listeners who've said on iTunes that they came to my show and now consider it to be like the unholy trinity. Like, I think someone said you guys, 22 Shots, and me. I'm just like, me? I'm not in the conversation yet. I don't even have enough episodes.
We had to apologize to those.
Yeah, exactly. Apologize to them, because
we didn't have enough information at the time.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you guys really came through for me, and I appreciate that a lot. And thanks, guys. Thanks a ton.
Awesome, man.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I think if you never came around, we never would have had that idea to do the solo shows. I mean,
I openly said I
all-
ripped it off. I'm like, I like what he's doing there.
Yeah, thank you.
right? And without the solo shows, we wouldn't have Brandon Don't Breathe. We couldn't tease him
thanks.
every week.
Brandon's
No?
pissed. He's not gonna do a podcast with me
I'm
now.
already hanging out with that. Thanks for that.
No more
I've
grad
noticed-
ass and Brandon.
I noticed he hasn't offered to edit anything since.
I offered to edit the show.
All right. Anyway, we're here. Thank you. Have a good night.
Nice. I think
Awesome.
I think I'll just mirror what Christian said and just say the pleasure was all yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Much appreciate.
Why don't you pimp some shit on the way out before I go into our pimping at the end?
One more time,
Mr.
like one
Watson.
more plug. All right.
Hit them up one more time, man, so they remember. Because now
Yeah,
it's
guys.
the end of the show. They've heard you. They're like, yeah, we dig that Watson guy if we never heard him before. So where can
Right
we
on,
find
yeah.
more?
Or they hate you.
Well,
It could go either
Yeah, or
way.
they hate me and they're just like, where can I spam a bunch of hate mails? Yeah, just everybody. I'm Mr. Watson, host of Horror Corridor. It's psychologically oriented, pseudo-academic, whiskey-soaked show, solo cast. I try to be intelligent on the show. I don't know. We do films, literature, music, video games, mostly films though. Find the Horror Corridor group page on Facebook. Join that. There's one you can like. That's not me. Don't like it. Just like it in your head. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher. I'm Horrorphilia Mates with These Exploding Heads Boys. You can find me on that site or on horrorcorridor.com. That's HORROCORRIDOR.com. That's the plug, gangsters.
And you know what? He's legit. Is he too legit to quit? Remains to be
Sometimes.
seen. But I will tell you this. It's a fucking entertaining show. I don't do solo casts. This guy's got it. I've listened to every episode. Can't wait for his next one to come out. Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
What? I can't
Well
be sincere? Like, Brandon's laughing at me.
It's funny. He's
I'm not-
using his hands. He's got a pen in his hand, like he's taking notes.
That's right.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is he doing over there?
You never know what he's doing. I don't know. Oh boy.
Like, I try to
So,
be
yeah.
fucking nice. This is what I get.
Well, Brandon
I-
hasn't
I-
said anything nice to me yet. So
I really haven't said anything nice. I don't know why. That's terrible.
What do you mean?
of
You've
me.
been grab-assing with him since he's been here. What are you
I love
talking about?
Mr.
You
Watson.
listen-
I know that. I'm playing.
He's so
I know
good.
you love him.
He really is. He's so good.
I agree.
I hope to one day be a quarter of what Mr. Watson is.
Never gonna happen.
Probably
Aw.
not.
You can hope to one day be a quarter of what I am. Is that okay?
You guys are freaking awesome. I love you guys, man.
I mean, one day offer me a quarter to. Wait,
Whoa.
fuck that joke.
What?
Totally off.
I think Christian wants to blow me for a quarter. I think I could come up with a couple of
I
quarters.
totally fucked that joke
you
up.
say?
This is how you end a show.
I know. I
meant
should not
to
even
say-
him.
I meant to say.
Roll the credits.
Okay,
I'm not even
yeah.
gonna pimp. Fuck
Ah,
it.
who gives a fuck?
Watson's right. Goodbye.
Say,